Welcome to Nick and Dave Deep Dive the Metaverse, a podcast exploring cult classics, subculture, and geek media. I'm Nick.
And I'm Dave.
And we will be your tour guides today for what we're calling a rapid fire re-rate of the first year of Nick and Dave Deep Dive the Metaverse.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that it's been an entire year of us doing this.
Yeah, actually slightly longer of us actually doing it, but a year of publishing.
Yeah, we did we did a test episode, which never saw the light of day, and then we did our episode 0, etc. And then we kind of built up a little backlog before we ever published anything. So I think it's actually been probably about 13, 14 months since we started recording.
Yeah, but next episode is our official, 1 year anniversary. And Dave and I decided like an episode or two ago that going forward, we were going to get rid of the crutch of fractional stars and make hard decisions and give things full star ratings.
Yeah, the fractional stars ended up being to where we were almost always rating things between 3 and 3 3/4 stars, almost invariably. The most common rating being a 3.5 star rating.
Yeah, and it just sort of like everything can't be 3.5 stars. We need to make these choices.
Yeah, there's a lot of 3.5 star movies that we rated that we're gonna have to just commit. Is it good or is it not that good?
Yeah, and I have some other ideas too, and I'll save that for as we get into this.
So what do you think, if this is the ratings episode, we kind of have to define our rating scale.
Yeah.
And we haven't done this off air, so
that's true.
How do we want to? Is a 3 just sort of it's all right, or is a 3 kind of okay? A 4 is definitely decent, and a 5 is like the best.
Well, and okay, I guess we'll get to the thing that I was going to bring up with our first topic or our first re-review.
Okay.
But I think that there should be some sort of distinction between a movie like Dune, which I gave 3 stars, and a movie like Pacific Rim Uprising, which I gave 3 stars. Mm-hmm. And one I think is legitimately kind of a classic genre film, and the other one is like a generic action movie. But I gave them the same rating. So there's got to be some sort of like gold star for those movies that are maybe not a great film, but are cinematically significant.
I think, honestly, if it's cinematically significant, why'd you make me say that? Then it probably deserves a bump of 1 from what you think the quality is, because there's a certain cult around it, the cult classic even, that gives it...
That makes it
a little, it gives it something extra. It's got more oomph. It's got something special about it. There's a little bit of an air of mystery that probably bumps it, because you legitimately cannot call Pacific Rim 2 as good as Dune.
No, I mean, I think on some level, I think it's a better constructed movie.
Oh man,
but I don't think it is a better use of your time, if that makes any sense. I think it tells the story better.
But I think you're being obtuse at that point. If you're going to say that Dune is cinematically significant and important to the sci-fi genre, and it is maybe not his favorite, but it's kind of the quintessential David Lynch movie. He does not like it, but I think it defines him. Actually, Twin Peaks defines him, but
not Eraserhead.
No.
Not a what?
Cinematically,
didn't Elephant Man
Dune.
win an Oscar?
It's Dune. It gets an extra star.
Mulholland Drive.
It's either Twin Peaks or Dune. That's what he is.
Lost Highway.
No, I didn't even really like Lost Highway that much.
Well, I don't think you're supposed to.
Yeah, it was.
I think it's supposed to challenge you.
It was hard to watch. It was definitely challenging.
Yeah, well, the protagonist turns into a different guy in the middle, and I don't think they ever explain it.
Yeah, it's just weird. So, I mean, back to the ratings. Are we thinking? So, 1 is just trash. Don't watch this. 2 is not very good, but
not very good. But there's something there you might get if
a select crowd might like this.
Yeah, like I think BVS ends up being a 2-star movie.
Okay. Well, don't jump ahead too far. Okay. But yeah, so it's generally not good, but someone might like it.
Yeah.
And then a 3 is what we'd call just a middle of the road.
Or
it's decent.
Qualified recommendation.
Yeah.
Whether that's because it's mediocre or because it's not very good, but it's significant.
And then 4 would be
good.
Just a good
strong
movie.
That's a strong
or a decent movie that's a cult important movie.
Well, I think we're gonna have to haggle over that one because you haven't sold me on cult status. Giving it an extra
if it's
star.
Important, I think you can. If it was, I don't know. We'll have to see how that goes. But a 5, and then a 5 is just cinematic masterpiece. Yeah. It belongs in the pantheon of must watch.
Yes, and I think as you've alluded off mic, by getting rid of fractional stars, 5s actually start becoming much more plausible.
It should be plausible. I would really like it if we got done with this and you didn't hold out on giving a 5, because you are like the worst for that.
Yeah, it's easy. It's easy. I've given out those 3.5s very easily in the past.
So I fill out these notes and I have this template, and one of the last sections is final thoughts. I've already filled that out, and I said I highly disagree with many of Nick's ratings preemptively.
I only highly disagree with one of yours.
Okay,
and I'm gonna make my case when we get there.
All right, great. So I think we've got that hammered down. So what have you been up to?
Geez, I haven't been up to a whole lot. I cut off my mullet. That's a big change.
Yeah, that's good. I mean,
I've had a mullet for like the last year and a half, and now I've got. I think I was inspired watching Warrior. I wanted to look like a Chinese gangster hatchet man, and got myself a slick undercut.
Yeah, I need to get a haircut, but yeah, I like your new haircut a lot better.
Thank you. The mullet was fun, and then it stopped being fun, and it was time for something else.
Yeah.
What else? What else have I done? I don't know. I watched. Did you watch Loki?
I haven't. We've been waiting to. I was gonna watch it with Carrie, but she had some work to do, so we delayed it a night.
Yeah. So we went disc golfing with you yesterday.
Yeah.
And watched it like as soon as we got home.
We were gonna watch it, but she had some stuff to do. So.
Work sucks. Quit your job, everyone.
Yeah, just stick it to the man.
Yeah, that's about it. I don't have a lot to go for in this first segment here.
All right.
What about you?
Well, I got a new phone just like you did last episode.
Did your lawnmower get yours too?
Yeah, no. The Pixel 4 XL had a known battery issue. It just continuously died, and I even had a motherboard replacement done. And eventually it just got to be too much to bear. And so I got myself a Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra. It's a nice phone. I like it.
I've had Samsungs in the past and liked them.
It got really good reviews, and ultimately what sold me, because I fancy myself a little bit of a amateur photographer, videographer type. It's got a super dope camera and back-facing camera, 40 megapixel selfie camera.
Very nice.
So I can, you can zoom right in on my face.
That's when you get that scary selfie where you see all the big pores in your nose, and you're like, oh my god, what is wrong with me?
Yeah, I just wanted that so that I could record. I could record 4K. Videos of myself like talking or whatever for YouTube. Yeah, I talked about it a few episodes ago about how I'd like to do some YouTube content, just some short things like Dave Explains type things, or Splaining with Dave. We'll come up
with Dave. We'll give it a tagline.
Yeah, we'll come up with something. But so I got a new phone, but really that's not what happened. That's not the big deal.
Dave Explanations.
That's a good one. I went to the Portland Open Disc Golf Pro Tour event.
Oh, yes. Tell me about that.
So dope. We went to round 2, which is a Saturday, because it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They play 3 rounds. The tickets were sold out for the whole event every day. So I was only able to get a 1-day pass, but it turned out that was okay because holy smokes, it was a lot of walking. It was a long course, and we walked it probably about 2-ish times. We followed the men's lead card. and we followed the women's lead card as well. And we watched a lot of our favorite pros tee off, even if we didn't follow their card. Shout out to James Conrad and other people that we did, Eric Oakley, that we didn't get to watch their whole card, but we did see them tee off, and it was pretty cool. I posted a lot of pictures on my own Facebook. But yeah, it was really cool. Eagle McMahon won the men's division.
Is that a real name?
That's his real name.
Eagle McMahon.
Yeah, it's actually his name. And yeah, I like him. He's a good dude.
Yeah.
But my favorite player, Riku Waisaki, he came in second place. He was right there in the thick. I got a picture with Ricky at the end, and he signed a couple of my discs. I've got a couple of Waisaki signature discs. Got a couple signatures there. Got to meet several other really cool players, and got to watch on the women's card. Paige Pierce took it down. No surprise there. She's a 5-time world champion, probably the greatest female disc golfer of all time. And she was just doing things she does, like hitting 60-foot putts, driving 500 feet for like a 5-foot tall, 100-pound woman. It's just insanity what she can do physically. So yeah, it was just a pleasure to watch them play, and I really enjoyed myself.
Do disc golfers get that thing like bowlers have with the asymmetrical arms?
Not really, because disc golfing, when you're driving, it's your arm is kind of it's like your rudder. It steers. You actually generate most of your power on your drive with your forward momentum and then the turn of your body.
Okay.
So when you spin the body, you flip your hips, you turn your shoulders, and then that just flings your arm out like a flail. So you're not actually developing huge arm and shoulder strength because you're just steering the disc as you whip your arm out, and it releases like at the whip crack at the end. So that's that. Yeah, I haven't seen that. Most disc golfers tend to just be like really lean looking.
And do they walk the course or do they ride golf carts?
They walk.
Okay.
They walk. It's most not. So if it's a actual true disc golf course, it doesn't have cart paths. This happened to be a disc golf course on a regular golf course.
Well, that was my next question. Is the disc golf course there at the country club, is that permanent?
No, it's not permanent.
That was set up for the thing. Okay.
Yeah, because the permanent place that they play, Blue Lake in Portland, which is considered to be like a classic disc golf course that people love. It's one of the good ones across the nation.
Okay.
Portland actually has 2 really huge like destination courses that people come here for.
And that's Blue Lake, and what's the other one?
Pier Park.
Pier Park. Okay.
And so people come for that. Anyway, Blue Lake, they couldn't, and Pier Park, they could not play at because they're both on public land. They're publicly owned courses, and the counties were not willing to guarantee reservations for large events given the COVID situation.
Okay.
So they, because the Disc Golf Pro Tour is it's a business, you know? And so they had to go with a privately owned location that could guarantee their reservation.
Well, that sounds like a pretty cool event.
Yeah, it was really fun. I had a great time. I know not a lot of the divers out there are probably disc golfers, but give it a shot if you're interested, and if or just check it out on YouTube. You might see, if you watch the FPO, which is the women's division, you might see me and my wife Carrie walking in the gallery through the lead card of the Portland Open. So what are we drinking here, Nick?
What are we drinking?
We'll podcast fuel.
We're a little unorthodox because it's an unorthodox episode and we don't have the same podcast fuel.
Okay.
You're drinking Dark Vision from Varietal Beer Company out of Sunnyside, Washington. It's a Schwartz beer, or a black lager. Just should have a roasty flavor, clean lager base, enjoyable spring sipper, they say.
It is exactly that. It is a roasty tasting lager that's easy to drink. It's almost it's lighter than a porter, but it has kind of that idea.
Yeah,
it's like
that roasted barley.
Yeah, it has like the shadow of a porter cast over a lager. It's good. I like
that style, and I know. You know, you're easy to shop for. It's like if I see a black anything, it's like black lager, black IPA, whatever. Dave will like this.
Yeah, that for sure.
So, and then on the other hand, I'm drinking Wampin Bear from El Segundo Brewing Company out of El Segundo, California. And it is a collab with Pizza Port Brewing Company out of Carlsbad. And that's like both of those are San Diego area breweries, if you don't know those cities.
Well, my aunt lives there, and she pronounces it El Segundo.
El Segundo. Oh, you're right. That is what people say.
Yeah.
See, now you've got me failing on California pronunciation and Pacific Northwest pronunciation. I'm a man with no country. I belong nowhere.
That's hilarious. Well, I mean, you literally chose the place where my aunt lives.
Yeah. But really, the reason I picked the Wampin Bear is because I'm a huge fan of a cartoonist named Steve Nazar.
Okay.
Who did... if anyone remembers TNC Surf Designs in the 80s.
Yeah, I played the heck out of that video game.
Yes, so all the character designs for the video game and the characters on their t-shirts and surfboards and whatever.
Yeah, like the ape and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thriller Gorilla, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and Joe Cool, and he has all these characters. And so anyways, he did the can art, and actually looks like one of his tiki guys is in the background there, and there's a kind of a cool teddy bear guy like body surfing on the front of the can. So yeah, I gotta support Steve Nazar anytime I see his artwork.
Well, that's cool. I thought you were gonna say something like, "Well, I had to get this one because it's got this bear skin surfing, and I'm kind of a furry myself."
And I'm a furry myself, and I'm a heterosexual bear. That's how I like to self-identify.
Oh, whatever, man.
And actually, I've been to Pizza Port, and I think they're an outstanding brewery. And so this beer tastes like I expected. It's a American IPA, and it's good. It's not a hop bomb. It's a smooth, easy drinking IPA.
Okay, that's nice. Yeah, this is a little off topic, but it's beer related. I went to Grains of Wrath the other day and had their Pandemic IPA again. Actually, Carrie ordered it, and that's probably the best IPA I've had in like quite a long time.
Really?
Give that a go. But today they released a new beer I saw on social media, and I want to try it just because of the name. It's called Didge Ripper. With Australian hops.
So they rip on the didgeridoo?
Oh, yeah. I mean, just the name makes me want to try it.
And you went to Von Ebert, and I wouldn't mind hearing a little bit about that, because they're a Portland brewery I really like.
Yeah, I had the Wolf Summoner there, which is an IPA, and it was super good. I really enjoyed that. But I guess I've probably mentioned this before, but I feel like the bar in the Portland metro area for beer it's pretty high, and you don't survive if your beer's not good.
Yeah.
So I expected good beer. Like I don't go in there with the idea that I have to be suspect about any of their brews. I figure they survived, they're here, it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
It's just how good. It turned out it was pretty darn good. I really enjoyed it.
They're really good. Like probably, I don't know, in my top 5 Portland breweries, I think.
The food was also sick. Like the pizza that I ordered, that was really good. I kind of just want to go back there.
Yeah. I always wonder about their pizza because like Brewpub pizza is like questionable. Like not like it's never bad, but in a town where there's exceptional pizza, like a Pizza Shoals.
Sure, yeah.
Do I want to get pizza here when I could get pizza somewhere exceptional?
Yeah, I agree. Eating trash pizza seems really lame in this area.
Totally. Well,
all right. Well, I think that wraps it up. Let's take a short break and then come back and rapid fire these re-rates.
All right, divers, welcome back. Let's dive into this. First up is Dune, 1984, David Lynch. What did we rate it, Dave?
Well, I also wanted to name the episode because we spent so much time brainstorming this. Yeah, this is from the episode 1, My Name is a Killing Word.
You know what? If I had it to do over, because this was our first episode.
Yeah.
I would call it Hello, comma, my name is a killing word, like the name tag.
Oh, okay.
Because that's fun.
Not like Adele. Like
yeah. or Lionel Richie.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So our original ratings were pretty close. Actually, you like to say that you rated Dune a 3, but you actually rated it 3.25.
Okay.
And I rated it 3.5. And a lot of these ratings seemed a little sketch on my notes, so I actually went back through all the files and listened to the rating sections.
I rated it higher on the recording, I think.
Did you?
Yeah, I think so.
No, I think you're right.
Oh, well.
Rated it 3.25.
Okay.
We'll go with that. So why and where do you go with that?
I think I still feel like it's a 3.25 rating because that quarter star is that thing I was talking about earlier that I wanna keep some facet of, whether it's some sort of stamp or something beyond the star rating, just of that we think it's significant. Because I think it's a 3-star movie, but I think it's like it belongs in the canon.
How can you say that it's a 3-star movie that people should watch and call it a 3-star movie?
Because it's not well constructed.
It's awesome. It's really good. I mean, I've already said Gurney with a pug.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the Spacing Guild. Mm-hmm. There's so many cool things. There's Sting with this cod piece.
See, just imagine you're telling your father-in-law this. You're saying, Patrick Stewart with a skullet firing a machine gun in the air with a pug in his arm. They burned real tires.
In the Mexican desert.
In the Mexican desert. Like any of these weird things that make it so awesome, that's not going to sell it to a normal person. It's a cult movie for a reason. So I think it's a 3-star movie, but I support the cult. I'm a member of the cult.
So are we gonna add a qualifier like this is like you call it like a 3C or something?
No, I just think I want to have a stamp of approval that I give to things that I don't think it's a good movie, but I think it's a significant movie. And I'm not going to do it on every film that I gave a low rating to, but there's a couple of them like this one that I think there needs to be like an asterisk next to that 3 stars. You
can come up with what you want Nick's stamp of approval to be.
Okay.
But I'm definitely rating this as a 4-star movie.
You're going 4? I'm going 3.
Yeah, I definitely don't agree with your rating. I think that this is a science fiction classic. I know after we recorded this, because this is one of our earliest recordings, there were like a slew of things you wanted to talk about that you didn't ever get to on this one.
Yeah, because it was really, this whole doing a podcast has been an exercise in learning how to take notes, a skill I made it through my life up until this point without ever having. Mm-hmm. And I've figured it out, but I definitely didn't know how to do it when we did Dune. My notes were all over the place, and we kind of called it a wrap, and then I was like, we never even mentioned that there was female characters in this movie, for instance.
Yeah, well, they're pretty marginalized. They really are just serve to be a relationship for Paul.
Yeah. But his mother is pretty significant, and there's certainly more significant in the book.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just... There's a lot of stuff that we would have talked about had we been more experienced.
Yeah, I agree. Things have come a long way since then. So was there anything specifically you wanted to shout out, or do you want to move on?
I'm ready to move on. My one note here was I wanted to establish how to distinguish between movies that aren't good but are still significant. That's what I have in my notes.
Okay. Well, we'll have to think about that.
We'll keep parsing that out.
I just feel like you should bonus it a star. So episode 2 was The Last Unicorn, named Red Bull Gives You Wings. You rated it a 3-star movie, and I rated it a 3.25-star movie.
So are you going to bump up, or are you going to come down to meet me?
So the thing is when we watched this again, and when we reviewed it, I really wanted this to be like just an amazing thing. And I feel like the animators really did a great job, and the soundtrack is amazing, and the acting, the voice acting was absolutely superb.
Yeah.
But what really killed it was Peter Segal, his
writing,
his hacky writing.
Yeah.
Like there are moments where it's literally a Peter Segal inside joke to Peter Segal.
Yeah, the have a taco thing.
And the singing butterfly, singing modern things.
He's the worst.
Yeah, I really wanted to love it and give it a 4. And if I could do a fan edit of this movie, I could give that a 4. But I think I'm going to have to give it a 3 because of those flaws that make me groan so hard.
Yeah. And I do, I think that was, it was a lot of fun. And we talked about getting back and doing some more of the Rankin Bass fantasy animation, like The Hobbit and Flight of Dragons. And I definitely still want to do that, because I like those movies.
Oh yeah, I love them, especially The Hobbit. That's got to be the best one of all. Yeah, I really like this movie, and I'm sad that it's only a 3 because in my childhood it ranks in the pantheon of amazing things that I watched a million times. But as an adult, I can't give this one of those unqualified recommends.
Right.
I think a lot of adults would be
bored.
Yawning. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some boring parts.
I think we're in agreement.
All right. Well, I guess we're moving right along.
I know, we're trucking through these.
And this one was actually the only episode that we had that was a half episode number, episode 2.5, episode 2.5.
It's because we had already recorded like 2 more episodes.
Yeah, we'd recorded episode 3 for sure,
and I think 5.
And so we ended up wanting to drop our very first hot take extremely timely, like right after the old guard dropped, and so we just didn't want to go back into the old episodes and re-record. This is episode 5 or whatever.
Yeah.
And so we just called it 2.5, and the name is What's a Scythian? You rated it a 3.75-star movie, and I also rated it a 3.75-star movie.
Ooh, so
this is one of the rare ones where we just fully agreed.
I'm comfortable with going down to a 3. And I'm interested if you are, because I remember you being pretty enthusiastic about this.
Yeah, I mean, I read the comic and I was pretty stoked for it. And there's a sequel coming out or in production that I'm extremely stoked for. And I think this is a hard one for me because I feel like this is not a hands down better movie than Dune. Dune's a 4 in my mind. But it is hands down better than The Last Unicorn at a 3. And so it's one of those deals where it's hard to say, like, if one is a canon science fiction movie.
Yeah.
This is not a canon science fiction movie. It's just a really well done science fiction movie.
Yeah.
And so I'm just going to call it a 4. I don't want to be stingy with my ratings. I think that too often that's the case. And in this case, I really, really liked it. I thought the main character was just completely badass.
And I don't think you were out of line with your 4 at all. And that's kind of what I expected you to do, because, you watched this. It's one of those things where you watched it and then texted me, have you watched this? And so like, to me, like, that means you really liked it.
Yeah, for sure. It was awesome. I'm stoked to see the sequel when it comes out. That's going to be really good.
And what about, this is probably a good time to mention the Highlander reboot.
Oh man, I'm excited for that. Henry Cavill as the Highlander.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's actually going to be Connor McLeod or if they're going to reboot it in some other way. But I mean, he has to be a Highland Scotsman in order to be the Highlander.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Christopher Lambert is Belgian.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But and then they had an American play Duncan MacLeod, another immortal from the same clan.
I don't know. Didn't he kind of have some sort of?
Maybe he was Canadian.
Yeah, he had an accent too. Like that wasn't. It was not a Scottish accent. That's what I'll say.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited for that. That's definitely going to be a 4 or 5 star movie right there.
Are you more excited for The Highlander or for another Old Guard? A reboot of Highlander, which we already have an excellent movie, or actually something new that just has similarities?
It's funny because I was talking to my buddy Marty about that, about how I do get tired of retreads and rehashes, and I really just want new properties to rally behind. That's why I really like The Expanse so much, because it's not another Star Trek thing, another Star Wars thing. It's something new. It's interesting. It's awesome. And so I love The Expanse. And so for that reason, I'm probably more excited for the Old Guard. But that's from an intellectual perspective. But from an emotional perspective, teenage Dave is all about Highlander.
Yeah,
it's got a nostalgia for me.
I mean, I can't even talk about it without hearing the theme song playing in my head.
Oh yeah, so they better use that song again.
You have to.
They have to use Queen. It comes with the property, right?
Oh, I'm sure. So, I mean, we need whenever the new Highlander comes out, we need to deep dive the original. That's a must.
And the reboot, do a head to head.
I don't know.
Good question.
I don't know if people like. Do people like head to heads?
I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot we don't know. Divers, you don't communicate enough with us.
Yeah.
A few of you do.
And we know there's at least 50 of you, so.
Yeah. Diver Ted, Diver Amber, you guys are very vocal, but a lot of the other divers, we don't even know you're listening. And just it just kind of filters to us eventually, like that we have these listeners.
Yeah, so if you add us on Twitter, we will definitely respond. But yeah, I don't know. We'll give it a shot one way or the other. Let's move on to episode 3, Dazed and the Same, which was a deep dive of Led Zeppelin, where we watched 2 movies. So we have 2 sets of ratings here. We have The Song Remains the Same, and we have Dazed and Confused. But we also did our first hot take here, because this was actually recorded before What's a Scythian. And we did a hot take of Be Water. We actually also did a hot take of My Hero Academia, but we didn't re-rate that one either.
Shoot, we should.
Oh man, divers, sorry, we're disorganized here.
Yeah, we're going by the seat of our pants.
Yeah, let's go back a little bit. Hot take My Hero Academia.
This is Heroes Rising, the
Heroes
second My Hero
Rising.
Academia movie.
For me, that's an easy 3 stars. It was what you expect. It was decent.
And I think, what did I do last time? 3.5?
3 3/4. And I gave it 3 1/4.
Okay. So this is here. I'm gonna haggle over this one a little bit, and the reason being, how much consideration do we give to the specificity of genre?
You were already essentially nerfing previous things by saying you couldn't just recommend it to someone because of the niche things.
Okay.
So if we're saying that niche is not actually a selling point, it's a detractor,
right,
then that means you give it 0 cred.
In that case, then I'm going to come down to a 3 with you.
All right, so that's an easy. I figured if you rated it a 4, I was just gonna get up and leave, because you gave Dune a 3, and that's not justice. So
no, and so just to elaborate on that movie is a really good extra special episode of a cartoon show.
Yeah, it was a really good cartoon episode.
Yeah, and so I can't say that's a 4-star movie because it's not. It's a really long episode of a cartoon. Mm-hmm. So there we go.
Easy peasy. How about Be Water, which was a documentary about Bruce Lee? You originally rated it a 4, and I rated it 3 3/4.
I'm sticking with the 4. I think that was a really good documentary.
Yeah, I'll go up to 4. I can't drop 3/4 of a star. Mm-hmm. That's easy because it's Bruce Lee, and it was just like excellently made.
Well, and I went and I bought the Criterion Collection, the Bruce Lee box set, and I just binged through Warrior, which he didn't technically was not alive to produce, but it still got his fingerprints on it.
Yeah, I still haven't watched Warrior. I've been
so we're getting like maybe a little COVID disruption here, or season 2 aired in 2019, and then Cinemax shut down production. They stopped producing original content.
Yeah.
But since HBO Max has launched, Warriors kind of found its audience finally, and so they got greenlit for a 3rd season, but it's not coming till next year.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a huge gap, 2019 to 2022.
Well, I will have time to catch up then. So Dazed and the Same. So where do you rate Dazed and Confused? I believe that's what we watched first, which is sort of like the press. The press made fan primer that tells you all about them from the beginning, but it's all very positive.
Yeah, I thought it was like a corporate training video. I said it was the Welcome to the Led Zeppelin Corporation.
Well, both of us rated that as a 3.5 previously, and I think this might be the best example of why fractional rating systems are bad, because that's just a lazy rating.
It is.
Because we were just saying, okay, yeah, anyone could watch this. This is fine. But I don't think we were commenting on whether
it's good or not.
It was good or not.
I think it lacks like a sort of ethereal voice or like a vision, and so I'm going to take it down to a 3. I think there's good information, but it's not a strong film.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely am going down to a 3. It felt like an infomercial to me, and that's not what you want.
But I learned a lot. Like, it was useful.
Yeah, it was an infomercial. I mean,
if they taught Led Zeppelin in school, you'd watch this movie.
Yeah, for sure. And so then the more controversial one, The Song Remains the Same, which was the band produced combination live footage and filmed vignettes with each band member, as well as an intro and kind of an outro, that was extremely long. You rated it a 3 and I rated it a 3.
I'll stand by that.
Man.
But that's a 3 that I want to put that stamp on, the significant stamp, because it is really a good document of the time and where the band was at. So I think if you're a big Zeppelin fan, you do have to have that movie.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's pretty.
So I watched it, obviously, and I rated it a 3, but I was bored as hell by the end of it. Like, I was ready for it to be done, and I really only liked the live parts.
Yeah, you didn't get heavy into the art films like I did.
Yeah, the vignettes were just so extra, especially with how heavily their manager featured in all of it. I was just like, man, this guy thinks he's in the band.
He is like the 5th member of the band for sure.
Yeah, and so I'm very tempted to drop it to a 2. Because I just didn't enjoy it.
But, there's good footage in there.
I mean, I really like Led Zeppelin. I think they are one of the greatest of all time. But yeah, I think I'll stay with the 3, but I give it no special stamp. Listen to the albums. It's way better than that movie.
So I've been watching these YouTube videos of Brian Johnson from AC/DC, where he goes around and hangs out with musicians, and it's very much like a vanity project. It's like this. It's like what we do. It's like Brian Johnson's like, oh, you give me a budget to travel around and talk to people I admire.
Man, I wish I had a budget.
Yeah. And so he goes to visit Robert Plant in Wales, and Robert Plant meets him like out where they filmed the stuff from The Song Remains the Same, with like the fur collar on and the freaking sword. He still has it.
Oh man.
And so it's like there's a mythology to that movie. And that's what makes it significant to me. Like, it's significant to them. You know what I mean? So,
I mean, I'm going to stick with the 3, but I'm just not loving it. It was hard to finish. It was so long. All right. So I guess so far we're mostly in agreement.
I know you made a liar of yourself when you wrote that you were going to disagree with me.
I've disagreed with you twice, but it's almost now a running gag at how I disagree with you about Dune. But the next episode is episode 4. The Lonely Soul Surfer was the most the most underrated album of 1998. Yeah, that
our
was,
longest title.
Yeah, and this was of course a hot take. Recorded immediately after Bill and Ted Face the Music dropped. And you rated it 3.5 and I rated it 3.25. And I think that part of my rating, the reason my rating was a 3.25 was because I didn't enjoy most of the side plots. I thought that if you deleted them from the movie, it didn't actually change the outcome. So they were essentially pointless. The wives plot line and the daughters plot lines. It's not that I'm against having those relationship plot lines or whatever, or those side characters have their own adventure. I just would like it to matter.
Yeah.
And it just didn't.
Particularly the wives plot line just doesn't go anywhere.
It feels like that was a victim of the editing room for time.
Yeah, probably.
Because at least the daughter's plot line links up with Bill and Ted.
Yeah, it was significant to the movie.
Yeah, but it just was like, I don't know. Those plot lines killed it for me, but the main plot line, the Bill and Ted stuff, was amazing. It was so great. It was like a shot of nostalgia.
I'm going to give you a hot take. Is because you are a middle-aged man and you just identified with their middle-aged man story.
The thing is I that might be true. I'm not going to fully deny it. I just think that Keanu Reeves is really funny.
Oh yeah,
and dude, when the Ted is arguing with Ted,
you're a dick, Ted.
Keanu Reeves legit stole the scenes that he was in, and I don't think that it's. I don't think that I'm way off base when I just say that he's probably the best actor in the movie.
No, I don't think you're out of line. Although I'm blanking on the guy's name.
Alex Winter?
No, Death.
Oh, yeah, that guy was pretty good, too. Yeah, Alex Winter is really good, too. But I think Keanu just nailed it.
Yes, this was, I think, a very, very strong Keanu. William Sadler is Death. I really enjoyed this movie. And part of that was because we hadn't seen a new movie for months because of the pandemic.
We were starved.
And so this movie was just like, I was already in the bag for it. But it was extra fun on account of the lack of new content over the quarantine.
So what are you gonna rate it?
Ooh.
How much did you love it?
Not enough to say it's a 4-star movie, I don't think.
You're going from a 3.5 to a 3?
I don't want to. I really don't want to. But I don't know how I call this a 4-star movie.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm going to go ahead and give it a 3. And you know, it's funny because you could have just emailed me these results because you've rated everything a 3 so far. Come on, Nick. Get with it. So the next one is actually this is a big asterisk. This is episode 5, which was a hot take that was kind of done out of time. It was a bonus episode. It actually dropped between episodes, September 1st and September 15th.
Oh,
this is the Dune trailer.
Dune trailer,
and we rated it 5-star for a trailer. It's a 5-star trailer, and I don't think there's any debating that. It was a killer trailer.
No, and I played that Led Zeppelin song just on repeat after, not Led Zeppelin, sorry, Pink Floyd, the Pink Floyd song from that trailer, just on repeat for days after watching that trailer.
It was really good. I didn't actually think the Pink Floyd song was that important to the quality of the trailer. But we spent an hour talking about how well it was cut, the trailer itself, to tell you the story of the book, but without giving anything away.
Yeah.
It just sort of conveyed a big vibe to you. So yeah, that stays a 5-star trailer.
Oh, for sure. And I think
that's an asterisk because it's a trailer. It doesn't.
To me, that movie, as we talk about not getting sort of reboot fatigue or remake fatigue, I don't feel Dune has ever been done justice. I think.
When are they going to put that movie out?
Is it October? It comes out.
Man, I'm looking forward to it.
We're getting there. We got to make it through the summer. We got to get through wildfire season before we can watch Dune.
All right. Well, do you want to move on, or do you have more to say about the trailer?
The Dune trailer? No, we can move on.
Episode 6, The Prisoner of Karazhan.
Man, if there's an episode that I could get a do-over on, it's that one, because I think that's one of the toughest listens that we've ever recorded.
It's a long episode, and we were still learning our craft.
Oh, for sure. Because we actually recorded that episode before the last several that we talked about.
Yeah, this one was in the can for a while. And when we listened to it, we were actually a little bit sad that we were releasing it at that point, because we had recorded better episodes.
And also,
like Bill and Ted was recorded after, and Bill and Ted episode was much better.
Yes, I would totally agree with that. And also, I'm an evangelist for this movie because, most people, when you start talking about like fantasy and stuff, I'll always ask, have you seen Warcraft? And inevitably they say, no, I heard it's terrible. And so it's like, no, I really, really like this movie.
It's the highest grossing video game movie of all time.
Yeah.
And there's been like a million Mortal Kombats and,
that's a terrible movie. that new Mortal Kombat movie ruined my life.
Hot take 1-star movie.
I haven't recovered from Mortal Kombat, man. That one messed me up.
That's funny.
It's so bad.
So we rated Warcraft as 3.25 star. We agreed. We both gave it 3.25 star. And under the old system, a 3.5 was considered an unqualified recommend, just like a go watch it. So that a 3-star would have been a qualified recommend.
Yeah.
So where do you put it now?
I love this movie, man. Like,
but is it good? There's a lot of parts about this that just are a little bit meh.
I don't think so. I just think it's a lot. This movie gives you a lot of information because it explains, like 2 worlds and 4 cultures worth of content. That's a little bit of exaggeration, but like, it's a lot and people can't take it.
Sure.
But I'd rather watch this than The Hobbit.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'd rather watch this than that. Well, not the fan edit of The Hobbit that we watched.
Because then the other one's 3 movies.
Yeah.
That's not fair.
I'd rather have 2 more Warcraft movies than a new Lord of the Rings movie.
Maybe. I hope Blizzard doesn't make another Warcraft movie.
I thought they had one announced in development, but we just don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't know. So what are you going to rate it? You're painting yourself.
I'm painting myself because
you know it's not a 4.4-star movie.
No,
you know that.
Because so many people don't like it. It couldn't possibly be a 4-star movie.
It's just not. I mean,
it's 4 stars in my heart.
So it's like The Last Unicorn, which is 4 stars in my heart, but 3 stars in reality.
No, but I think this is a very underappreciated movie.
It's all right. I wouldn't recommend it to people generally. Only Warcraft players. I would not recommend this to a general audience.
But I am not a Warcraft player.
No, but you're a nerd. You're a total dweeb. you play D&D and you like monster things, and you're just you're firmly entrenched in the nerd culture.
So Lisa got me for my birthday, or was it for Christmas? No, it was my birthday. That's more recent. No,
Christmas is more recent.
Christmas was more recent because my birthday is next month.
Yeah.
So it was definitely for Christmas, but she got me a Duraton.
Oh man,
big statue that is a phone charging base.
Oh, that's really cool.
It's so cool. It's like on my headboard. Like I sleep with the war chief of the Frost Wolves watching over me.
Oh man, I might have wanted a Garona one.
That'd be cool.
Or Medivh. That'd be pretty cool. So you going with 3?
Warcraft's a 3-star movie. That's fine.
Warcraft's a 3-star movie,
but
in 4 in your heart.
If you're a fan of fantasy movies and you haven't watched Warcraft because of the bad reviews or whatever, I highly suggest you watch it.
So, would you freak out if I said this is a 2-star movie? Because it's
Warcraft?
Really not very good.
I would really disagree with you.
It's just not very good, though.
I think you are rating it down in your mind now after the fact from what you thought after you watched it because you liked it.
Probably. I rated it a 3 3/4 or 3 1/4. That's true. I did like it at the time. So I'm gonna not hash it in retrospect, and I'll give it a 3. But this is boring, dude.
Well,
come on.
Okay.
All right.
Ghost in the Shell.
We're gonna let some fists fly on this one. Ghost in the Shell, we called it Zen in the Art of Cyborg Maintenance and Divers. Just so you know, this movie was this podcast was a victim of technical difficulties where I was using a program called Audacity to record us, and the file got largely corrupted, and we had to do a ton of re-recording. We basically did this podcast twice.
Well, we had to do a bunch of ADR in like the first half.
Yeah.
And then re-record the back third of it.
Yeah, it was rough, but I've listened to this podcast now like 3 times because of that. It actually came out pretty good.
Yeah, it's smooth. It sounds a lot smoother than it could have considering how much how much surgery we did.
So this was a head-to-head. This was actually our first head-to-head where we rated the anime first, and then we rated the live-action movie.
Right.
You rated the anime a 4-star movie. That might be one of your highest ratings.
I stand by that.
And I rated it initially, the anime, a 2 3/4 star movie.
You were pretty down on it. You didn't like the fan service, as they say in anime, with there was too much nudity.
Well, there was just too much fixation on the Major and her body and all this stuff. It wasn't.
I think that's your puritanical prudishness.
Well, I am a very prudish person, but really, it shouldn't surprise anyone that he now draws the art. The guy who wrote this does erotica now.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's
so. I mean, that lends a lot of credence to my objections.
I can see that.
And I rated it 2 3/4 stars, and I'm gonna give it 3. I definitely don't think it's a 2-star movie, but I do not think that it lives up to the hype that people attribute to it. People consider it to be one of the absolute classics. I've even heard it called a perfect anime, and I just don't agree. I think it's very flawed.
I think the story's a little too thin to say it's perfect, but I think it's as far as like the level of animation, it's a masterpiece.
The actual cell shaded anime, like the old school,
is beautiful.
It's proper, right? It's the type that you want to see. But as for the story, the actual live action version upgraded the story. They made it less of an art film and more of an action film.
Right.
And that made it way more watchable in my mind. And so you rated so I kind of tanked both of these. You rated the live action at 3.5, and I rated it at 3. So I rated it slightly higher than the than the anime, but not really that high.
Yeah. I think in these early episodes, I think you were being a little stingy with your stars.
You think so? Because you stayed stingy for a while.
I am stingy with my stars. I always say I'm easy to please and hard to impress. I like a lot of stuff. Like I like stuff that doesn't deserve to get liked.
That's absolutely true. Like kombucha.
But I'm very rarely wowed. You know what I mean? It doesn't. My socks stay on. They very seldom get blown off.
They never get rock sword.
Yeah. So I don't know. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna go?
I think I'm just gonna stay with my 3 on the live action. Okay. It's all right. It was fun. I actually enjoyed it a lot more. I really liked the Bato character, and I thought that it was just good. I liked how the Major reconnected with the mother, and I liked the addition of the plot line of how the puppet master, what was his name? Doesn't matter. Yeah. I like how they actually made them connected as opposed to random bad guy.
You know, the thing that I remember what killed this movie for me, besides the whitewashing, was how after she had all these revelations about herself, that she went right back to being a cop.
Yeah.
That
she was a rebel. She was basically Antifa.
Yeah. And it just like, it really, I felt like they undercut themselves in an effort to set themselves up for a sequel. And the sequel never came. And as a result, they undercut themselves for nothing. So it's sad. So it's a 3-star movie to me, but highly enjoyable and visually impressive.
Previously, you've taken... Actually, you have every 3.5 that you've done has gone down to a 3. In fact, this is the first 4 that you've given to Ghost in the Shell, which I guess is predictable because it's considered a classic of the genre. Episode 8 was called How to Kill Friends and Alienate People. It was about Lords of Chaos.
This is my one big disagreement with you.
Your super beef. Okay.
I think your rating is way off bounds.
Well, you rated it a 3 3/4 star movie, and I rated it a 2-star movie. I think my rating stands. It stands up because it is. This is a highly niche production here. Only people into the metal subculture should watch this. You should not show this to your in-laws. This is not everyone watches this movie. Hell, Warcraft is more approachable than this, and that's deep nerd. I feel like so many of these other good movies we've watched, like Dune or The Old Guard, even Bill and Ted, just more watchable than this, and definitely something you can show people. This is actually so down the rabbit hole. It's utterly self-limiting.
See, I don't think so. And I think actually being super deep into metal hinders you from appreciating what a good movie this is, because you are actually caught up in nitpicking what you think are factual inaccuracies.
Well, there are literal factual inaccuracies in the movie, like real inaccuracies that are done for cinematics.
We weren't there. We don't know how it went down.
They don't match the book. They don't match the testimonials of the people who were there and are still alive.
It matches the book pretty close.
It adds a lot of extra details where there were none in certain places.
Yeah.
It's very sensationalized.
I don't disagree with that.
And I think that this is absolutely a very poor introduction to the genre for people who aren't steeped in it already.
Yeah, but I don't think that's necessarily the point.
Then who is this for? If it's not for people in the genre and it's not for people not in the genre, who's it for?
I would say if you're a fan of Trainspotting, this movie is totally up your alley. It's a very similar in tone and style. I think just to tie it to something we watched recently, Clockwork Orange has its fingerprints all over this movie, especially in the voiceover. That's very much patterned after Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, I hate the voiceover in both movies.
Mm-hmm. I'm going 4 stars on this one.
I'm going 2 stars. I just think it's bad. I don't think it's a good movie. I think that it's not for anyone.
It's not for anyone.
It's not. It has no audience. This is just a movie with no audience.
Okay.
Yeah, I stick by it. So next one is one that we can probably agree on. It's called actually it's the self-titled album.
Right.
About Metallica 5, the Black Album. You rated it a 4 and I rated it a 4.5.
Oh. So you have a tough decision to make.
Yeah, is this album a 5-star album or is it a 4-star album? I mean, are you sticking with your 4?
Yes.
You don't think that this belongs in the pantheon of top tier albums? Because there's a certain number of top tier albums, right? Mm-hmm. Is this not as good as other really good albums?
No, it isn't.
It's not.
It's not. And I think if we listen back to the episode, I said it's a 4-star album that could have been a 5-star EP.
Wow.
and I stand by that. I think in order to get the length they wanted, there's some songs that aren't up to the standards of that the first half of the album sets.
Sure, the B-side is not nearly as good as the A-side.
Right. And so no, I don't think it's a perfect album, but I think it is. I think it's exceptional. And I think this is one, even just today on social media, we're taking hits for how much praise we heaped on this.
Yeah, that's true. And in retrospect, I think that the Black Album is probably Metallica's most important album, but they actually recorded 2 perfect albums, which was Ride the Lightning and Master of Puppets, which are 5-star albums.
Yeah, if you want a peek behind the curtain, we picked this album not just because of our enthusiasm for it, but because of just the vast amount of background material that we had to research.
There were at least 2 documentaries about the making of this album.
And so we wanted to do an album deep dive. This was sort of like a proof of concept, and it was a layup. It was just like an easy one to do because we had so much content that we could consume first before doing it.
Yeah, we've talked about doing some other albums, but there's actually just a complete dearth of information, and that makes it hard. So I can go with a 4-star because I do consider Lightning and Puppets to be 5-star albums. This one isn't as good. It's also not as good as something like Led Zeppelin 4,
right?
Or In the Night Side Eclipse by Emperor. There's a certain number of 5-star albums. This is close. It's not quite there. I mean, it truly is a 4.5. But you can't. Can I call it a 4 with a cultural significance tag?
I mean, I don't know. Are we going to invent this this?
Is it a plus? Do we just add a plus? We call it a 4+. Plus.
I mean, just because of the spreadsheet that you use,
yeah,
I think a plus would be very easy.
So what are your pluses? Dune is a 3+ for you?
Dune is a 3+.
So do I change mine to a 4+?
If you feel this is part of the canon, this is
if you're a sci-fi person, if you are in sci-fi, the genre, you have to watch Dune.
Well, yeah, but 4 is already a high rating.
I consider this a 4+.
Okay, you can give Dune a 4+.
Okay. Last Unicorn, Old Guard, no. Led Zeppelin, I didn't really like either of those documentaries that much.
Okay.
I called them a 3. Bill and Ted is just pop fun.
I don't want to devalue the
You don't
plus.
want to cheapen the plus.
Yeah.
You already cheapened the rating by inventing the plus.
Yeah, but now you see why it's there.
So you obviously, Ghost in the Shell, you gave it a 4. It probably is a 3+.
It's a 4.
I'm gonna give it a 3+ on the initial, because I don't love it, but it's super duper important if you are if you're in the genre.
You're watching listening to the sausage get made, Divers.
Yeah.
We're hashing this out in real time.
Lords of Chaos, no, it's not significant. And then Metallica Black Album is a 4+ for sure. For me, do you give it your plus?
I don't think a 4 needs a plus. I think a 4 is already a strong recommendation.
But 4+ means it's nearly a 5, but it's actually it's a 4 quality, but it's a 5 impact, like on the world. Like Dune.
I agree with that. It's one of the most significant albums of the 90s.
Absolutely. I mean, everyone heard this. This was on every rock station, like 10 singles that all hit number 1 or some nonsense. It's absolutely critically important to 90s metal. All right. Episode 10, no ratings required. That was actually our onboarding catch-up episode where we talked about everything. So we don't have to rate anything. I give it a 5+.
Diver Ted said that was his favorite episode at that point. We've had several more since then. So it might not be anymore, but he liked it. So maybe you got something there.
Yeah.
Maybe people just prefer this, where we just have...
This is definitely 5 stars.
We have real-time conversations and record them.
Yeah, where we didn't do any work.
Have you ever been on a road trip with Nick and Dave? Because this is exactly what it's like.
Yeah, I think several of our friends who listen have been on trips to Seattle or the beach or whatever. And this is exactly what it's like. All right, so next is episode 11, the Tolkien, the Hobbit Tolkien edit, which is a fan edit. We called it There and Back Again.
Not our strongest title.
No.
But I still...
Usually Nick thinks of most of these. I've come up with a few, but we banter about it. We both rated this as a 3.5, which is our lazy rating for this was good. Okay, end of conversation.
So...
it was way better than the original.
This fan edit made me enjoy these movies when I hadn't previously enjoyed them. So, I don't know. I mean, is it a 4-star fan edit?
No.
Is a fan edit a film?
I think if we just pretend it's a film, if we just pretend it is what it is,
then it's still probably a 3-star film.
I don't actually even...
It's got some chunky editing because it was done, by an enthusiastic fan who didn't have access to reshoots and things a real director.
Yeah, I think it was really fun to watch, but this is a very niche thing. I don't think most people would watch it, and the originals were not well loved when they came out because it's just too much. I mean, the guy just went overboard. It's a 300-page children's book.
Yeah. You know what I really wish? I wish that... This is a weird superpower to want, but I'd love to have access to the movies that were supposed to get made that never got made. And I would love to see Guillermo del Toro's 2-movie Hobbit.
Oh, that would be pretty cool.
Because that's what was supposed to happen, and then he had to leave... I don't know. I mean, maybe for Pacific Rim, there was some other project that pulled him off.
Okay, so while we're playing make believe, would you be willing to sacrifice the existence of Pacific Rim in order to get those movies?
Ay, that's a tough one. Oh man, because that's the
Mecha Kaiju movie.
Yeah, it's the best of. No, I wouldn't, because Pacific Rim is too good.
It's too good. Okay, I wouldn't either. I love that movie, the first one. The rest, nah.
But if the Lord of the Rings trilogy didn't exist, if we didn't already have such a superb example of Tolkien's world and everything, Middle Earth, then maybe I'd be more on the fence. But since we do have Peter Jackson's Lord of the Ring trilogy, which I think is just phenomenal.
It's definitely really good.
Yeah. And so, no.
Okay.
Pacific Rim is more... I'm glad we have Pacific Rim, but I wish Del Toro could do his time management a little bit better.
Did we just agree that There and Back Again was 3-star for
I
both
guess.
of us? I give it a 3. I don't think it's worth more than that.
Because I don't think it's really exactly a film.
It's not exactly a 4. You can't give that a 4.
But
I mean, you're a psycho that gave Dune a 3. If you gave There and Back Again a
that's
4,
that's the name of our episode,
whatever.
not the name of the movie.
If you gave the Tolkien edit of a 4, that'd just be pure sadness.
I do want to reiterate my desire to do an episode on the Blackened Mantle, which is the fan edit of the Star Wars prequels.
I mean, I'd be down. Let's do it.
Before Obi-Wan comes out, I want to do that. Watch the Blackened Mantle.
Okay. So the next episode is episode 12. It's called Video Store Vampire, and this is on Lost Boys. And Divers, this is actually our most popular episode.
Is this our most popular? It eclipsed Bill and Ted?
Yeah, it got the most downloads. It had the most engagement on social media. It just was the most popular episode, which I guess is, that's interesting because it's a really fun movie.
And it's what I call it checks all 3 boxes. We're the podcast exploring cult classics, subculture, and geek media. This
is pretty much it.
This one does all 3.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's not super subculture-y, but it kind of is.
It's very, very subculture.
Okay, I guess we have different definitions. I would say that Lords of Chaos was way more subculture than this.
But not geek media. It's not
geeky at all.
It's a cult classic and a subculture, but not a geek.
Yeah. So you rated this a 4, and I rated this a 3 1/4 stars.
So of all of my ratings, this is the rating that keeps me up at night. This is the one where I think, am I true to myself by giving this a 4-star?
Is this really awesome?
I gave it a 4-star as a great example.
The Frog Brothers.
A great example of the genre.
It's like they took a cool teen horror movie and added a stupid Corey Haim movie on it.
Like a kid's. See, you don't, and that's just a predictable thing now. You don't like kids.
Everybody who knows me knows that. No, I do like kids, but I don't like kids movies because I think they actually disrespect the intellect of young people.
That could be.
And some of this kid stuff is real lame.
It is, but why do people love this so much? Let's dissect
Kiefer
this.
Sutherland and Alex Winter just slay as vampires. I mean, they're just amazing.
Who's David?
The Sax Man. He just shredding it. I mean, yeah, this movie just has some moments and some of the actors and actresses they chose were just odd choices. Like
Jason Patric is Michael.
Okay. Well, yeah, Michael was great. And the thing is the acting between Michael and David, so good. Like those scenes, like the interaction, I just really liked it. I thought that was. It's hard for me because I love the vampire movie in this, and I hate the Goonies that they added to it.
I know, and see that's why I don't get when you multiple times Dave has suggested we should do an episode on Goonies, and it's
just because people like Goonies.
I know, but you're not gonna like
it. That's true.
So
I'm probably gonna call it a 2, maybe a 2+.
Yeah. We don't need that. We don't need that kind of drama of you just shitting on beloved childhood classics.
All right, let's do all the Disney movies.
Sleeping Beauty 2. What trash.
Those mice are not believable. No, that's Cinderella.
So, because this one has really bothered me though, and since we've just invented this plus,
we invented a new 3.5.
No, because I'm not gonna waste pluses on movies that I don't think are part of the metaverse,
canon?
The metaversal canon.
Oh, okay. Are we gonna publish a list of the metaversal canon? Must watch these.
Oh, maybe someday. let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Okay.
Print is dead after all.
No, publish online, dude.
Oh, okay. Lost Boys 3+.
Okay. I am right there with you. I think it's a 3+. I rated it a 3, and I rated it 3.25, and the quarter was because it was cool and impactful. I might have given it a 2 3/4 star originally, and then given it an extra half star for its significance. So I think a 3+ is pretty much where it's at. This was a movie without a vision. It was a movie that was kind of all over the place, and it didn't have kind of that clarity of style that you really want from like a truly excellent movie.
Well, and that
like Dune
entirely makes sense given the background of that movie, because it started out as a Dick Donner Goonies type movie, and then Joel Schumacher took it over and put his leather clad fetishy thing onto it.
Yeah.
And but there was just some remnants of the Goonies style story in there still.
They should have fired all the Coreys. Just move
I don't know.
on.
R.I.P. Corey Haim.
Yeah. All right. Well, episode 13 was actually our year-end list. It was actually our New Year's episode where we actually did our bests of the year and all that. So that's its own thing, divers. If you want to hear us freestyling over unprepared content, go check that out. No, actually, we did really prepared and curated lists.
That was probably one of my first really heavy notes. I did too heavy of notes to where I was like reading scripts and it felt a little unnatural.
Yeah, I actually really like that episode. But our next episode, actually episode 14, is a deep dive of Mandalorian. It's a standard sushi western space opera.
Season 2 of Mando, right?
Yeah, but we watched all of it. Let's be real. We primed ourselves, and you rated it a 4, and I rated it a 4.25 because I thought it was just a little spicy.
I don't see any reason to change that for us.
Really? You don't think it's better than that?
No, I don't think it's better than that.
What's a better TV show that's out right now? It's the best thing on.
It's the best thing on TV?
It really is. And if something's the best thing on TV in the last several years,
it's the best. It's the best space opera sushi western. I'll give you that.
It's the best Star Wars anything they put out in a decade.
Oh, let's not get into that.
It's absolutely true. All right, back me up, divers, that Mando is the best Star Wars product they put out.
A lot of people feel that way.
In decades. Since the original trilogy.
A lot of people feel that way.
And it's not really wrong. I mean, this is not just top tier Star Wars, but it's top tier TV.
Yeah.
Anyone can like it. Everyone can like it.
I think we're a cult podcast, and anyone can like it is not our barometer.
But anyone can like it.
Yeah, but anyone can like it.
Yeah.
So I'll just hash this out a little bit. I do love Mandalorian, but there is this sort of Diver Sam taught me a word the other day. Neostalgia.
Oh,
is this sort of like
that's a nice word.
Yeah, this we seek out these things that
trigger nostalgia,
but they're not really the way we remember them. Like,
it's idealized.
Yeah.
But is that bad?
I don't know. I don't think it's bad for culture in general. I think the rehash machine is bad for if we want culture to progress. I think we're kind of stuck in a feedback loop where we're just going back and eating things we already liked.
I like eating things I like.
Yeah, so it feels good. Like watching The Mandalorian makes you feel good.
It's really good.
And so I don't want to take that away from anyone, and I myself enjoy it thoroughly.
What is better on TV?
I need to prepare. If you're going to ask me questions like that,
there just isn't. And
there's what's an apples and apples comparison? Because if I say The Wire was better than The Mandalorian, that doesn't make any sense.
It's tough because they're both 5-star TV shows.
The Wire is a 5-star TV show.
So is The Mandalorian. The thing is there's...
Oh, so you're going to up your rating to a 5?
I think so, because first of all, we need to not be so stingy with these ratings, because you can't rate everything a 3 or a 4. You gotta have more variance, and this is better than other things. It's a cultural phenomenon. People talk about this all the time on social media, in person. The Mandalorian is the show. It was the last the show that was on was Game of Thrones before it totally shit the bed. In its early first 4 seasons or whatever, everyone talked about it.
Is this better than the first 2 seasons of Game of Thrones?
It's on a level with.
Okay.
It is that top tier of TV. This is one of those shows that is it's at the pinnacle. There aren't really shows that just blatantly eclipse it. There are just also other good shows on this level.
So here's the thing. Here's the journey I went through with both seasons of The Mandalorian. Mm-hmm. The first 3 or so episodes of the season, I think, yeah, this is just sort of...
But those were intentionally establishing shots.
Right. So the first 3 episodes, I kind of think, oh, they're rehashing this movie, or they're using this trope, and this is really unoriginal, and I'm kind of down on it. And then we reach the tipping point in the middle of the season, and then I can't wait for the next episode all the way to the end of the season.
And there's Boba Fett.
I know, Tamora Morrison is Boba Fett. Strong.
He's the man.
So, yeah, I mean, I feel good about a 4-star rating. I'm not gonna begrudge you your 5, but I just can't go there.
I mean,
but hey,
is anything going to ever be a 5?
Remains to be seen. I just said The Wire is a 5.
Like, maybe someday I'll see something that impresses me. Until that day happens, I will remain too cool for school.
But so, like, I feel pretty confident saying The Wire was a 5-star show,
sure.
Even with the one kind of bummer of a season where it's all about the newsroom.
Yeah.
But that's very rare that something really blows me away like that.
Sometimes you gotta let yourself go for the ride.
Yeah, and when Luke Skywalker shows up and I see that green lightsaber and he's just wrecking droids. Yeah, I'm there. That's why it's a 4. That's why it's an enthusiastic 4.
Man, you are miserly bastard. You're just Scrooge over here.
I'm a Scrooge with stars.
That's horrible.
You're gonna have to, do something a little extra for. You're gonna need something more than Luke Skywalker to get a 5th star out of me.
I know Luke Skywalker and Boba Fett don't, and Ahsoka Tano, they don't rate. They're not good enough.
But doesn't somewhere in the back of your mind something tells you that that's cheap? How they're playing you.
The thing is we didn't get these stories of those characters.
Yeah, but
those stories were cut short, and we didn't actually get to see what happened. This is the continuation of it's more content, and I like that.
You make a strong case.
Well, I guess I'm not going to change your mind. Our next episode was entitled Transylvanian Tourist Trap, and this was head-to-head of Dracula 1931 versus Dracula 1958. And we rated these very closely, and they're both in the 3s for all of it. It's all in the 3s.
Okay.
You rated 1931 3 3/4 stars. I rated it 3.5 stars because I didn't love it quite as much. You rated 1958 3.5 stars, and I rated it 3 3/4 stars. We just reversed each other.
Yeah.
You liked the original slightly more. I liked the Christopher Lee slightly more. Because it was more followable to me. It was less of a play on stage.
It was a much more modern feeling movie.
It was a movie. It wasn't a play.
Yeah, and that's true. And it's Dracula, the Bela Lugosi Dracula, is like they filmed a stage play.
Yeah, it's just a play.
And
they could all of that was play-like effects. You could see at the community theater.
Yeah, and Todd Browning was still new in directing talkies, as they said in the time, and it showed because there's no sound design in that movie at all.
So many like long awkward silences.
So what I am inclined to say is that actually both of these movies are 3+.
Okay.
I think they're both, by modern standards, neither one of them is a particularly strong film, but both of them were hugely influential. Like, very much, like, inspired the next generation of cinema that followed afterwards.
You make a strong argument because I really like Dracula movies. They're great. But these are not that entertaining. Like, they're cinematically important, but geez, like, you couldn't have someone watch these that wasn't watching them for historical value.
You couldn't show it to a Zoomer.
No, they wouldn't watch it.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, these are probably threes that have cultural significance. These are 3+ers, and you know the thing is I really want to rate that Hammer movie higher than that, but I just can't. It wasn't.
Let's say follow your heart.
It wasn't that good. It was fun, but it wasn't
fun.
that good.
It's very enjoyable, and Hammer had a great run of trashy horror movies with Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing in most of them.
Yeah, well, you gotta love Christopher Lee. He's the GOAT actor.
Yeah,
he's literally.
And
we
don't get to Mandalorian without Hammer Dracula. I don't think, because there's a lot of Darth Vader in Christopher Lee's.
Oh yeah.
Or vice versa. Christopher Lee's Dracula is all over Darth Vader.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. So the next episode 16, is called 2021: A Cyberspace Odyssey, where we review. Deep dive Johnny Mnemonic, and we gave these fairly different reviews. Our next couple we have very different reviews. You rated Johnny Mnemonic a 3.25 star movie, and I called it a 2.5. There was just a lot of really suspect acting in this. There was also a lot of like really bad dialogue, like the dialogue and the action, like the fighting itself that they did not hire a proper fight coordinator.
No,
it was really poorly done with the action.
So
Dolph Lundgren might have been the best part of it.
Oh, Henry Rollins was the whole reason we covered
that.
That's
true. Rollins was great. Spider is a winner.
And doesn't he has there's a character in the newer Cyberpunk game that's sort of inspired by him, I understand.
Probably one of the docs. I mean,
yeah.
I couldn't tell you exactly where they're at, but yeah, I believe it. I'm waiting for more digital content for that game. I want to play through it again, but not with just the base game.
So, so this movie, I mean, is it possible? Is a 2+ a thing?
Oof.
Where you say it's not a very good movie, but it's culturally significant.
I mean, you could say that if you wanted to say it's a culturally significant bad movie.
Because I think this is really part of the cyberpunk canon, and that's a very niche little subgenre.
So I'm a big fan of cyberpunk, and I've read a lot of it. I've read, I've read all the Avery Cates books, and I've read, I've read a lot of cyberpunk in my day, but I'm not sure if this movie actually is more important than the various writings that have been done. The books are way more influential than the movie itself. I like that they made this into a movie. I just didn't think it was very good. So are you going with a 2+? Is that your plan?
And what was I before? 3.25?
3.25.
Yeah, and that even at the time felt strong.
Well, that was really generous.
Yeah, I think it's a 2+. I think it's a pretty bad movie. I think Keanu is good in whatever he does, even when it's a bad movie. And I think especially the William Gibson source material and the William Gibson screenplay have some strong points to them. I don't, but it's not a 3-star movie.
I'm gonna go ahead and just give it just a naked 2.
A naked 2.
Just a naked 2. I don't really think it needs a plus. I don't think that this is quintessential to the genre. Blade Runner is the quintessential cyberpunk movie, I think.
What else? RoboCop?
I mean, yeah, RoboCop is better than this. I mean, it's just sort of like cyberpunk. It is more defined by literature than it is by movies.
So, but if you're thinking movies, though, this is one of them.
But this is
part
just,
of the canon.
This is a cyberpunk movie.
Yeah.
It's not the cyberpunk movie, the one you need to watch. You need to watch Blade Runner.
That's true.
This is just...
But Blade Runner is probably a 4-star.
5-star movie. You gotta be willing to understand that this is not a 3 rating system where only 2, 3, and 4 exist. 1s and 5s exist too.
Is Blade Runner a 5? It might be.
Yeah, it's a perfect movie.
RoboCop might be a 5-star movie.
It's probably a 4+ in my brain, but
that's for the future. We'll
someday.
And speaking of the future, I didn't have much to add about Johnny Mnemonic, but it just begs, when are we going to get to John Wick and The Matrix?
Oh man, because we're really Keanu Reeves stands here, I guess, on the on deep dives. I love Keanu Reeves, and I love the John Wick movies, and we've wanted to do The Matrix since we thought of this podcast.
Yeah,
like since before we even began.
So when does the new Matrix come out?
I don't really care if it coincides with the new Matrix, because that will inevitably be bad.
I don't. It's got Michael B. Jordan and Christina Ricci in it,
and it also has Keanu
and Keanu Reeves. Yeah.
And is it Wachowski's making it? Okay, so it might be good. Okay, I don't know. I guess that's when
we'll figure that
it.
out. But we definitely we need to get back to some of the other Keanu trilogies.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so episode 17 was our Alice in Chains episode. Which the divers didn't love, honestly. We didn't get a lot of reaction off this one, even though I'm a huge fan of this band. The documentary we watched, which is more like a fan documentary, fan edit. It's made on YouTube. It's called 3 Legs of the Dog. Our episode's called 3 Legs of the Dog. The documentary was called The Dirt-umentary, The Lane Years. It was only about the Lane Staley time. Right. And you rated it a 2.
Because it's not a film.
It's not properly a film.
No, and that's why, scoring it as a movie, I think even a 2 is probably technically strong, because it's just not a movie.
It's a strung together series of interviews, live footage, and press material.
It's a well curated playlist.
That might be wrong, but.
Yeah, so that's why I gave it a 2, because I don't think it's actually a film. But I did find the journey valuable, even if I don't think it's a very good... it's a fine whatever it is. It's just not a movie.
It's a fine YouTube video.
It's a fine YouTube video that that someone went through and collected all the highlights of Alice in Chains interviews and put them in chronological and sort of thematic order and really curated them really well, so you didn't have to spend an afternoon searching them out.
That represented a lot of effort for
totally.
One guy.
It was a lot of work. That's that 2nd star that he's getting.
So you're sticking with the 2.
I'm sticking with the 2, but even though that's not a popular episode, and even though that's not a real film, I very much enjoyed the research portion of that episode.
It was the Dirt-umentary was very educational.
Yeah, and I
like that.
I went in deep on Alice in Chains in a way I never had before, and I'm a much bigger fan of theirs now.
Oh, they're one of the great American rock bands. They're just so amazing. I rated a 3.5 at the time, but I think my rating was not a rating of the Dirt-umentary. Mine was basically just tinged based on the music, the live portions. I love the live. The thing is, and I know we said it a lot in that episode, but when Lane and Jerry are singing, there's a magical alchemical thing that happens. They just are ensorceling. Like the live tracks of those two guys, it's amazing. And the Lane interviews are utterly heartbreaking. They just wreck you if you have a soul, because Lane is such a genuine and good dude, and he has such a problem with substance abuse.
Right.
And so I felt real emotions watching that thing. Like it was not that this is not a film. It was that these interviews matter.
Yeah.
This is important for this band. This is the story of this band.
Yeah.
And it was
in their own words.
It was done in their own words, and it was done very well. So I'm going to keep it as a 3, because I think that this is just, if you're a music fan at all, you can watch this. It's going to be enjoyable. And it has a certain fun quality about it in the beginning when they're young guys and they're just going nuts.
It's all kind of downhill from after they kick Mike Starr out.
Yeah.
Whatever the big festival they played in Brazil with Nirvana, it seems like once they reach that sort of stadium status and you have all the money in the world for drugs, things start unraveling.
Yeah, and then when they move to LA and they get mansions across the city from one another, and it's just kind of a little bit of a weird degeneration of the band.
Yes. Deep bummer, but great music. And
oh yeah.
Yeah. So I got a lot out of doing that episode, even if it's not the most popular.
Yeah. All right, so the next episode 18, this one really, this led into Snyder's Justice League, because this was like 2 episodes of DC Comics madness. It was Space God meets Orphan Guy, and it was Man of Steel and Batman versus Superman. And you rated Man of Steel a 3.5, and I rated it a 3.5 as well. Lazy rating. Because it's just an unqualified good movie.
Do we make the jump up to a 4?
Do you think this is a really good movie that you think anyone could enjoy?
I know a lot of people have a "that's not my Superman" issue with this movie.
Who is their Superman though? Christopher Reeves?
Yeah. So
Cavill is way better than Reeves.
That's a controversial statement.
He's a better actor. Like,
Christopher Reeves is a good actor.
He is a good actor. He is not as good.
Just because those movies kind of outstayed their welcome, went 2 movies too long,
and had really like lame dialogue and plot gimmicks.
Yeah, we're not here to deep dive the Dick Donner's 5-star movie, Superman the movie.
Oh no, there are no Dick Donner 5-star movies. None.
But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about, is Man of Steel a 4-star movie? And so I don't know that the criteria is, could anybody like this, or
just is it a superb example of the style? I think that it certainly is. It's better than 90% of all comic book movies.
It's a really good alien invasion movie. I mean, I saw it in the theater twice, so I must have liked it, right?
Well, I became a Superman fan.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm on Team Kal-El.
And yeah. No, okay. I'm willing to go there to the 4-star on Man of Steel.
I think that 4
because I don't want to go down to the 3. I don't think that's the right way to go.
I think that 3 isn't sufficient, but I think 4 is it's close. Like this is a scraper, you know. This is a tough one. But yeah, I think 4 works for this movie.
You got to get off the fence, right? If we're sitting on the fence and you have to pick one side to jump down on, I'm going the 4.
Yeah, I can't go on 3. That's just unconscionable.
Okay.
And then we got Batman versus Superman.
That's a 2.
You rated it 2 3/4 stars, Do you remember what I rated it?
Oh, probably lower, like probably a 1.5 or something.
1.5 stars.
Yeah.
This is actually my lowest rating of all. This is even lower than Lords of Chaos, which I rated a 2.
Yeah. So your rant in this episode is very popular.
Oh, okay.
I have received messages about it. This is something people think is hilarious.
Okay, well, sometimes I get steamed. I gotta go.
Yeah. Did a child write this movie?
It is so bad. This movie is unwatchable. I give it a 1.
Oh, you went down even lower?
Well, I rated it a 1.5. If I have to fall on a 2 or a 1, I can't give it the 2.
Okay.
It doesn't warrant the 2 because I question if a child wrote it. It's just that bad. It's the worst movie I've seen in a very long time.
Okay. I'm going with the 2, but I have in my notes here to talk about my theory of how to fix Batman versus Superman.
Okay.
It's not as fresh in my mind. I had it really fresh in my mind when we did the episode, but the episode was already a little overstuffed. But there was a couple of things. The one main thing was take the warehouse scene that's after the big fight between Batman and Superman, move it earlier in the movie and do more Batman detective work stuff while he's on the trail of the human traffickers, and actually have some heroic Batman in the first half of the movie.
Yeah.
Because he's just a monster through the first half of the movie.
Yeah, he's really, really terrible.
And then the other big change I would make would be to have Wonder Woman be the one that breaks up the fight and not Lois, and get rid of the Martha thing, because that's to this day that's what everyone makes fun of.
Happy Martha's Day.
Yeah. And having Diana, it gives her more to do in the story, and she has already established the kind of a relationship with Bruce, and it just sort of makes sense, and it makes the trinity between the three of them stronger.
So I went back. So I don't disagree with you. Those would really help this movie. I went back and I was listening for the ratings, and we actually did a stealth rating in there because you mentioned Wonder Woman 84.
Oh, yeah.
And we did a stealth rating, and I stealth rated it a 3-star, and you agreed. So I'm just putting that out there for the record, that Wonder Woman 1984, which we both watched, is a 3-star movie. It stays a 3-star.
Totally. But Wonder Woman is a 4-star movie.
Oof, that's hard because I didn't really like it.
I don't think you really watched it.
What do you mean?
I mean, I think it was on. I think this was a family entertainment movie, and it was on, and you were probably doing something on your phone, like watching disc golf.
I probably was phoning, that's for sure. Probably, actually, I don't generally watch disc golf on my phone, but I shop for some discs.
And here's what I think is that you watched the bad Wonder Woman movie, and then someone says, well, let's put on the first one, and you're like, I just already didn't like the other one. So that's what I think happened.
Yeah, I just didn't like it. I stick with a 3-star rating on that one as well, I think. So, did you hear that maybe they're recasting Wonder Woman? Did you see that online?
That's not true.
You think that's fake news?
There's a lot of fake news. If you really, with the comic book gossip websites, you really need to put a strong filter on, because there's a lot of nonsense comes through. There's a lot of very disreputable websites on that stuff.
All right. I mean, yeah, I don't think they should recast her. Same with Captain Marvel. I don't think there's always rumors that they're recasting her. I don't think they should.
There's a lot of people that hate women, and
they always want to talk trash about their projects. Okay. Well, in that light, yeah, fuck them.
Totally.
Okay. So our next one is we continue to be Snyder Bronies, and we do Zack Snyder's Justice League. We called it Super Friends After Dark, which I actually like that title a lot. I think it's pretty good. We both rated it 3.25 stars. That's a hot take. And that is a hot take right there.
I think that becomes a 3+. I think because
Culturally significant movies?
This is an extremely significant movie because this has never happened where the fan demand forces the studio to do the vanity project like this.
I'm sorry, sir, but you must not have heard of Sonic the Hedgehog. Which did exactly this.
No, Sonic the Hedgehog. That's a strong point because they did make them fix that movie.
They really did.
That first Sonic was disturbing looking. I don't know who greenlit that. But making him actually look like the game was a good move.
Yeah, that was a good will, actually.
I think the Snyder Cut has tremendous cultural significance, especially in genre movies.
I mean, I thought it was fun. It was good to watch. I enjoyed it. But holy crap, first of all, it's too long.
Yeah.
I don't think you can do an origin story of multiple side characters in the main team movie. Like Cyborg and Flash and whatnot. It's like, geez, don't do this to us. But the thing is when I first started watching the Flash's scenes and stuff, I thought, man, this character sucks. I'm hating this guy. But by the end of it, I was on Team Flash.
Yeah.
He was just so dope. Cyborg, never got on board with Cyborg, but he didn't. I mean, he did do some big hero shit. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was cool. The best scene in the movie is literally when they are trying to fight Kal-El and the Flash comes and Superman's almost as fast. And the Flash is like, oh, shit.
Yeah. No, that is the best scene in the movie.
That's the best scene in the movie. I love that.
Yeah, both of their faces, the pissed off Kal-El face.
Oh, yeah.
Or Lisa calls it disappointed Henry Cavill. Because he makes it all the time in The Witcher also.
Oh, I love The Witcher.
And she's like, oh, I love disappointed Henry Cavill. It's like when he's looking down on someone, and he does that Witcher grunt.
Yeah.
Yeah, so totally. I don't think it's because of all the reasons you just mentioned. I don't think it's a 4-star movie.
See, I didn't even pull out my trump card for why it's not a 4-star movie. All I gotta say is Martian Manhunter.
And I love that character too, man. But
his two scenes were both just
I hold
lame.
Martha Wayne sacred, and
yep, nobody fucks with Martha.
Yeah. I mean, that's what the last movie was hinging on.
You mean Martha Kent?
Yeah, Martha Kent.
Yeah, Martha Wayne.
Martha Wayne, R.I.P.
Yeah. Someone already got to her.
Fair enough. 3+.
I call it a 3.
Okay, that's fine.
The thing is I would love it if this was a 4.4-star movie. After Man of Steel, I thought to myself, maybe the Snyder bronies are onto something. Maybe this guy is a modern master.
Well, keep going.
But Batman vs. Superman
was pretty bad.
It was horrible. It was a 1-star movie. And then this...
But this is not
fun and okay, but it wasn't like an oh my god moment.
This is not a theatrical cut of the movie, though. It's a kitchen sink. This is literally everything we shot, plus some more stuff we shot after the fact.
Yeah, I just couldn't get behind it.
That's fine. But
also the the infinity cubes and the boom tubes. Mother box and boom tube. All of this garbage, just no. This is no.
It did, my notes here, it just says, coming to terms with being a Snyder brony. I had been really critical of Zack Snyder before, but I really just came out with myself. Not to make light, it's Pride Month, but I'm not trying to make light of the struggle of people that are really in the closet. But
you had a self-realization.
I had a self-realization that I think he's a really fascinating filmmaker. I bought the extended cut of Sucker Punch. It's still sitting out. I haven't watched it yet.
I remember I saw Sucker Punch in the theater.
I think we saw that together.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. And then I've watched Army of the Dead twice.
I watched that movie actually.
Yeah,
that was good.
I watched
Is
that.
that a Zack Snyder movie?
Yeah. You couldn't tell from all the slow motion.
Yeah, but that movie was really fun. Like maybe it wasn't like a 4-star movie, but it was really fun.
Diver Sam had me over to watch it because he heard us talking about it, and he's like, "I've got a take on that movie."
Oh, okay.
And so we watched it. It's a whole episode. If I explained everything, his thing he likes to hook you with is that the helicopter crash is a simulated sex scene. And so that's how he gets people's attention.
That's crazy. But I've also seen his Simpsons paintings, so
he's super big into like the esoteric, like Gnostic symbolism and stuff. So he sees the hidden messages and everything.
Yeah, I don't. I guess I'm just a basic conspiracy guy.
Yeah, but I think he's got really strong points as far as like who Dave Bautista represents, like red state America and the conservative male's hero complex.
Interesting. I liked that character. I thought he was very relatable as a
veteran.
I'm a vet. He's a vet, but also just really like he was a failed dad, and he didn't like that he sucked at being a dad. And I mean, we've all regretted being shitty at something. I'm not a dad, but we've all regretted maybe someone we've done wrong or whatever. And I think that Dave Bautista just was a really good actor, and he portrayed those scenes earnestly. And it felt like a dramatic scene, not just like token moment in the action movie.
And let's just while we're on this tangent, let's talk about how much Dave Bautista has leveled up as an actor from the first Guardians movie to now.
He's super good.
He's so good. Like, I was like, this guy, this big brute has learned how to emote.
Yeah, I mean, he needs more movie roles. Anything he's in, I'll watch at this point. I think that he's a dude who is probably gonna just only make good movies. He's got enough money. He doesn't have to take garbage. He's no Nick Cage.
And he's hilarious on Twitter. Like, I love Dave Bautista.
I don't follow him. Interesting. So you came to terms with being a Snyder brony.
Yeah.
And you're totally cool with it.
I am.
I guess the thing is I hated Batman vs. Superman, but I've liked everything else.
Yeah. 300?
Oh, yeah. I like 300.
So
I like Sucker Punch.
Yeah. You know, I have a lot of criticisms of Watchmen, but
Watchmen was good.
I've watched that movie in 3 different edits.
Oh, wow. I guess you liked it.
So I must like it, right? If I keep watching it, it's like when a new version of it comes out, I go, well, I have to spend 3 hours watching this now.
Yeah.
Then I must like it. Like, unless I was a masochist.
I always wondered if they were going to make a sequel to that.
Well, they made an HBO series that's a sequel to it that is superb.
I got about halfway through that series and I just couldn't finish it. I just wasn't enjoying it.
Oh man,
the main characters didn't speak to me. I couldn't feel like I identified with their plight. Like it just felt like it was targeted toward a different audience.
That could be, but I think watching Watchmen, the TV series, after the stuff that happened afterwards, the social upheaval of the last couple of years, I think Watchmen hits different.
I think maybe that was one of the things that caused me to have fatigue with it, was because it was just, this is too much like the news cycle. This is too much. This is more of this, like living in a riot zone, you know, like it's just like, man, I need to watch stuff that is not stressful reality. Like I also wouldn't be watching a pandemic movie, you know.
Right.
So
that's absolutely a fair point.
Maybe I'll revisit it at some point, but we should go to the next one because this one was for you. This was the Nick episode. This was
it was your idea though. This was
was it?
Yes.
This was Godzilla vs. Kong, Kaiju King of the Ring, episode 20. You gave it a 3 1/4 star, and I gave it a 3 star.
I'm gonna come down and meet you at a 3.
Yeah, I'm not changing mine, and I don't give it a plus either.
It's not. It's not cinematically significant, especially since the movie was already made once in 1962.
Yeah, I mean, the axe was significant.
The axe and the Hollow Earth. There was some new additions to the mythology.
And we need to #continue the Monsterverse.
Definitely.
I mean, I want more.
Oh, so I've got my note here to talk about my how you cross over with Pacific Rim theory.
Oh God, okay.
Because after we did our Pacific Rim episode, which is 2 episodes following this one, I was updating our social media and stuff, like our Tumblr and everything.
Reading some fanfic.
Well, not fanfic. I saw some little interview blurbs with Stephen DeKnight, who I believe directed the second Pacific Rim. Mm-hmm. And he had said if he had got to do a third one, it was going to cross over with the Monsterverse.
And have Jaegers versus King Kong.
Godzilla and whoever else.
Yeah, okay.
And so I have a theory about how you do that, because they're on parallel timelines, more or less.
Sure.
So I think in the wake of Godzilla versus Kong, you have Shaw Industries take over Apex. So Shaw was I think I'm getting that name right, they were making the Jaeger drones in Pacific Rim 2. I figure after the Mecha Godzilla fiasco, Apex is going under. But they're halfway there to the Jaeger technology, right? Because they had the guy basically drifting.
Wasn't Apex the name of the Jaeger kaiju thing in the black? Mm-hmm. Okay, so they just reused the word.
They just used it, because it's just a good word.
Okay, go ahead.
So basically, I would just start building on these little things that I feel like they're already setting up, because the Serizawa overload's trying to drift with the Mechagodzilla, right?
Yeah.
So that's leading to the whole Jaeger thing, where you need 2 people because the thing's too big.
Sure.
So basically, I think Godzilla vs. Kong is already moving us towards Pacific Rim, but they're in 2 different universes.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
Except for Pacific Rim, the whole crux of Pacific Rim is interdimensional rifts.
Sure.
So when John Boyega says in Pacific Rim Uprising that they're going to go after the what are they called? The precursors, the aliens that send the kaiju.
Yeah.
They're going to go into the breach and go after them. When they come out the breach, they're in the Monsterverse.
And so we have Jaegers.
We have Jaegers, and there's already a Jaeger program that's started on that side of the breach, and it just merges together. And then,
I mean, that'd be fun. Do you think that'll ever happen? I think Pacific Rim is dead in the water.
I think but there's another season of the anime coming.
Oh, is there? Not gonna watch it.
No, probably not.
It was so bad.
It was bad. But that's 2
That's
episodes
coming
away.
up. Yeah, we're soon. So, I mean, on this movie, or I'm sorry. So you stick with the 3.0.
I stick with the 3.
You're good with that? Okay.
Yeah.
I am too. I rated it a 3. I'm just looking at your ratings, and you just overwhelmingly drop 3s. That's just your thing, I guess.
Easy to please, hard to impress.
Yeah, okay. So the next episode 21, was called Superhero Couples Therapy. It was about Falcon and Winter Soldier, or the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah,
I've
get it
been
right.
corrected. And you rated it as 3.5, and I rated it as a 4.
So this is going to be a tough one, because I have said many times Marvel just drops 3.5s. Mm-hmm. That's just what they do. That's every Marvel thing. There's a homogeny to Marvel products, and it usually hits that 3.5.
Yeah.
So where do I come down?
This is better than your average Marvel thing. This was super enjoyable. Everyone was talking about it. New Captain America. And when John Walker was the Captain America, the whole world was up in arms. And
that's true.
It's just really good.
It had good impact.
Everyone loved it. This was. I mean, I haven't seen anyone that watched it and was like, not for me.
No, but I've seen a lot of people that were in that 3.5 range where I was. So ultimately,
Bucky Barnes, dude.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
Because I know you're well documented Sebastian Stan / Bucky Barnes / Winter Soldier fandom.
Sure. I'm Stan.
Yeah, you're a Stan. And you're also a Henry Cavill Stan.
Oh, yeah.
There can only be one White Wolf.
Oh, it's Geralt for sure, 100%. He's
Geralt is the only White Wolf.
I mean,
Bucky can't have that name.
No, he can't have that name. He's Bucky Barnes. That's what he was in the comics. He can be the Winter Soldier, or he can be Bucky. He's not the White Wolf. That's Geralt of Rivia.
Okay. Your enthusiasm pushes me onto the Force side of the fence.
I'm glad because this was actually probably one of the best Marvel properties in memory. I'm trying to think, like, in the last few years, obviously there were some really good ones. Like the first Iron Man movie that just blew me away. Captain America, all of them. Yeah. And I even thought that I even liked the first Thor movie quite a lot. But I like Thor a lot. But this was just head and shoulders above recent output, which were 3s. This is definitely
in the new system. There's going to be a lot of 3s. Yeah, I'm with you. This is a 4.
All right, good. I'm glad that because this was actually really fun and really enjoyable. It's one of my favorite TV shows of the pandemic.
Better than Mando?
No, I rated Mando a 5.
Okay.
I think Mando's the best TV show. I mean, the other TV shows in my pantheon during the last couple of years when I haven't been going out and stuff or been like alone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're deep in the unscripted TV.
Yeah, I like that. I like it.
There's not
fun. It's like listening to podcasts, but with people.
At your recommendation, I know we've talked about this before, but I started watching Ink Masters.
Yeah.
But there's only like 2 seasons on Netflix.
Yeah.
That's frustrating.
You got to get more Oliver Peck and Dave Navarro.
It's really like that's a really great phoneable show. Like if you just want to have 100%. Something on, and it's got enough drama that like you can follow it, but it really is. You can get up and go to the bathroom. You don't have to stop it.
Yeah, I phoned all of the seasons like that. I think I've watched all the seasons, and I phoned all of them.
That's a really bizarre sort of recommendation. It's a very 2021 thing. This like I want a show that's good enough to keep my attention, sort of.
Yeah, it's good enough to be my multitask.
Yeah,
yeah, and podcasts are perfect for that. Like you put us on while you're working. Or whatever. Mm-hmm. Perfect. Driving. Good. No worries. You don't have to give us your full attention.
Yeah.
I don't give any podcast my full attention. All right. So we like The Falcon and The Winter Soldier. And next season is going to be called Captain America and the White Wolf. Is that it? Or just Captain America?
I think the next...
It's just a movie.
I think it's going to be a movie. And it'll be Captain America, probably whoever the bad guys are.
Yeah. And Bucky will be in it. Because he's the sidekick.
Yeah.
And that's cool.
It'll be Captain America. It might be Captain America and the Winter Soldier, the Serpent Society, or whatever. Whoever.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just guessing. That's not
I also want to just shout out.
That's not a scoop.
I'm still on Team Zemo. I'm anti-Super Soldier.
Yeah. Zemo's Zemo did some bad stuff.
Yeah, he did.
I'm fine with Zemo going to prison and paying for his crimes.
He was fine with it too.
Yeah, he went willingly, and very like gentlemanly and dignified. But to me, the best Zemo moment is when he sees the super soldier serum and just stomps him.
He just goes for it. I love that. That's just because he's true. He's not like John Walker who just grabs it and he's like, get it in my veins.
Yeah. Zemo has that clarity of purpose.
Yeah, he is 100% lawful evil.
Totally.
All right, so we've got the next one, which was the Pacific Rim franchise rescheduling the apocalypse.
Yeah, so I at this point knew we were moving towards full star ratings, and I know I already did this as full stars.
You did, and I did not.
Okay.
So you rated Pacific Rim 1 4-star movie.
Yes.
And I rated it 3 3/4 star movie. And I'm going to go with you. I'm going to go 4-star movie. It was really good. It was, it's quintessential for the genre.
Yeah. It's a superb example of the genre.
It's not a plus because this is such a niche genre. It's not that important to cinema. But it was really good. And it was fun. And everybody I know that's watched it has thought it was cool.
Yeah. And it has a heavy fan community that I didn't really realize until I got on Tumblr.
Oh, yeah.
This is a Tumblr movie.
People love the hell out of this movie. And so then the second one, Uprising, you rated as a 3, and I gave it a 2.5. It's hard. Where do I fall on this? Was it okay or was it bad? Because
just mediocre.
It just wasn't that good. Like
mediocre.
I hated the kids plot. And I also didn't like the burnout son who's also an Ace Jaeger pilot. Like it's just not believable. I liked the little trash Jaeger, the little roly poly. I thought that
Scrapper.
was fun.
The BB-8 of Jaeger.
Yeah, we got their little BB-8. I thought that was fun. Man, I wish this was either a video game where you could like make Jaegers and fight kaiju and stuff, or maybe like a role playing game. That'd be cool. Anyway, is it a 2 or a 3? I think it's 2, right? It's because it was just bad.
I already said it's a 3.
Are you? You can revise though. This is where you do it. This is what we're doing.
No, this is a 3. And I was not. It was on the rewatch that I just appreciated it, because the first time I saw it, when I saw it in the theater, I was really measuring it against the first movie, and it was coming up wanting. But just on its own, as a robot smash 'em up movie, I think it's just a straight up 3.
I don't know. I'm a little bit torn, but I
didn't you say 3.75 or 2.75?
No, 2.5.
Oh, 2.5.
I was literally 50-50. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 3 because it was a fun smash 'em up. It was all right. I didn't feel like this was a total waste. It wasn't hot garbage. This wasn't like, this wasn't like I don't know. Was it better than Johnny Mnemonic? Because I gave Johnny Mnemonic a 2.
It's yes, I do think it's better than Johnny Mnemonic.
I think it probably is better than Johnny Mnemonic. Okay, and then The Black, the anime. You rated it a 2.
Yep, that's a deuce.
I rated it as a 2.5. And it was
boring.
Not only was it boring, but it was cliche. It was cliche boring. It's a 2. Yeah, you're right. This was trash. So I guess I conformed to yours, but I guess I did these weird fractional, so it had to happen. So 4.32 is about right, and I really don't. You know, they need a movie, a good movie.
When that anime comes out, I'm just gonna watch it. I'm just gonna say it right now. I'm gonna watch it and not like it because I'm too deep into this to back out now. I like that. I like the Kaiju Jaeger.
Yeah, if Apex is good, okay. So you watch it and tell me whether it's good.
Okay, that's gonna happen.
All right. So this is our last one. The last rapid fire re-rate. A Clockwork Orange. Too old for the old ultraviolence, or too old for the ultraviolence. We rated these on solid stars, knowing we were switching to this. You rated it a 4. I rated it a 3.
Does it get a plus from you?
I think it does. I think it's a plus, but it actually wasn't that good of a movie. And I think you should rate it a 3+ as well, because it wasn't actually good. It had tremendous flaws. And I feel like you were rating it based on its significance, not on its quality.
I think there's something to these controversial opinion. Stanley Kubrick just makes good movies.
He knows how to film a movie.
And I think what you experienced watching it as a teenager and then watching it now is exactly what you should have experienced. So this was the thing that we didn't talk about in the episode because it just didn't fit in anywhere. But the Ludovico technique that Alex goes through, what occurred to me watching the Ludovico technique is he's essentially watching what we've been watching. He's watching a sort of pantomime or like staged reenactments of crimes that he committed. Right. And he is being conditioned to experience discomfort and nausea and stuff when he sees it, to become repulsed by the violence that he's seeing. And when you're watching the movie, you are being Ludovico'd also. So your negative reaction is the intended reaction.
I can see why that might be something you could get out of it, but I also think that there was a lot of intentional controversy just to be shocking. It felt like that he was trying to Marilyn Manson us.
Okay.
And I'm just not impressed by that. I think it's a juvenile thing to just want to be extra shocking with extra bad things. Like it's not thought provoking to me. It's just I don't know. It's a base instinct, and I don't think it's excellent filmmaking. I didn't really enjoy it that much, even though it does have a lot of significance. And there were some really great sets and some really great costumes, but it just wasn't that good of a movie. Like I wouldn't recommend this to anyone.
Yeah, but if you were taking a film studies class, you'd have to watch it.
That's why it's a 3+ and not a 4. Because a 4 is like a movie people should watch. This is not a movie people should watch.
I'm sticking with 4. I don't feel like I'm on a thin limb here. I feel like I'm on the.
Well, this is one of the very few where you rate something higher than I did, because I tend to be way more generous than you in these ratings. There are a few differences, like Lords of Chaos.
I give stronger consideration to the classics than you do. You're much quicker to trash something that's considered a classic.
Yeah, but you also don't give consideration to modern things as if they can be very good.
That's true.
Like you don't think The Mandalorian can be a 5-star TV show because it's new.
That's part of it. But not because it's new while still being old.
Yeah, but it's really good. It's top tier TV.
I'm not going to disagree with you. I'm just not prepared to say that.
You're not going to give it the Nick stamp of approval.
I mean, I've recommended it to anyone that's like, because anyone that says, "Is it good though? Is it like Star Wars?" Yes,
it's better than Star Wars stuff. Like
and
modern Star Wars.
And I'll say this, and I say this all the time: if you really like The Mandalorian and you're skipping out on watching Solo, you're only hurting yourself.
No, that's true.
Because Solo is definitely in line with The Mandalorian.
It's in the same vein.
It's a space western.
Gotcha. All right. Well, that is all of our ratings. Did you have any final thoughts? I mean, this is normally when we rate stuff. I'll rate this episode as a 5. Do you have any final thoughts? I disagree with several of your ratings preemptively and in aftermath.
And in reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I agreed with you more than I disagreed with you.
That's been, this whole thing, this year of doing this has definitely been like a learning experience to me. I think it's been valuable. I'm a much more conscientious viewer now afterwards. So even when the episodes are not that good, I still got something out of it.
Yeah.
I'll try to not be so stingy with my stars, but I'm just hard. I've seen a lot. That's part of this is I've seen a lot of movies.
Listen, we got a few things on the agenda coming up that we're going to do over the next few months,
including.
And if there's one in particular I'm thinking of that's a 5-star movie, and if you don't give it a 5-star, I'm very disappointed. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
It's going to be a surprise which one it is.
I'm not going to tell you beforehand because I think that would taint you, and you would give it a 4 just to spite me.
Is it the Fast and the Furious, President Hobbs and Shaw?
No, Tokyo Drift. We are not rating all 9 of those movies. Hell no.
I'm already 5 movies into it.
No, I know. I'm watching them, but I'm not rating every single movie. No, we rate the last one. That's the whole point. The rest are window dressing for the last one. Divers, you don't want a rating on every Fast and the Furious movie, do you? At me on Twitter.
I can't stop now, man.
You already started?
I'm deep into this, and I'm doing it in chronological order.
Yeah, of course, chronological.
So Tokyo Drift is next. I just watched 5. I mean, a little sneak preview. I've watched 5 Fast and the Furious. No, I just watched 6. Which is the 5th one chronologically because I didn't watch Tokyo Drift until now. I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, so Nick was not a Fast and Furious watcher before this, but I've seen them all previously.
I'd only seen the first 2, and then as more and more of them came out, I've always had this feeling I was missing out on something, but it was too late for me to catch up with it. But now I'm catching up, and I'm heavy into it. I
really You love this action drama.
Yeah, I'm still like
it's all about family.
I find your fandom of Vin Diesel really fascinating.
Yeah, well, I mean he makes great movies. Pitch Black, Last Witch Hunter, Fast and Furious. I mean his movies speak for themselves.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and close down this segment, and then we will come back with our final segment and talk to you. Yeah.
All right, that's a wrap. All right, welcome back, divers. It's time for that final segment, the one where I ask Dave, what are you into right now?
All right, well, I got a couple things that I want to talk about. One's just a streaming recommend because that's what we do here.
Mm-hmm. What are you streaming right now?
Ragnarok. Season 2.
Oh, I haven't watched season 1.
Oh man, you're missing out. It's a Norwegian show. It's a Netflix original filmed in Norway. Mm-hmm. It's done in both languages. And so it's a modern Norse mythology tale about the gods versus the giants. Mm-hmm. And it is fucking great. Like, I love the character Magni, who is has the or is it Magne? He's gets the powers of Thor.
Magni is Thor's son.
And his brother turns out their mother actually had an affair with a giant who was one of her the boss at the big company there. And so his brother is actually his half brother, and he's half giant, and it's fucking great. Like it's just a really good show. I neither of the seasons are super long. Mm-hmm. It's totally bingeable.
Do you watch it in Norwegian subtitled, or do you watch it in English?
I watch it in English.
Okay.
I don't tend to like to read just like glued to the screen if I'm going to binge something. If it's just a movie with subs, that's different.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really like it. So I recommend checking out Ragnarok on Netflix. Season 2 just came out, and I just binged the hell out of it. Everyone that I talked to that's watched it loves it, and I can't see them not making a 3rd season because it's so good. And it ended at a place where they could.
Is Netflix bankrolling this, or is this one of these things where it's a European show and they bought it?
I think they bankrolled it.
Okay.
I think this isn't the only one that they've done this with, but it's really good. Like they did that one Lillehammer, but that was really not an American. That was not an American or a Norwegian show. This is Norwegian. The full cast. Anyway, it's really good and it's fun to watch. The other thing that I actually have a little more to say about is Critical Role. I brought it up before.
Oh yeah.
Campaign 2 just ended after 141 episodes. And they average about 3 to 4 hours a piece. I have watched them all. And it was awesome. The ending was just fantastic. And historically speaking, when they ended campaign 1, it was about 3 months before they began campaign 2. And in the intermediate time, they did a few small specials, like a campaign wrap up where like kind of like the DM asks me anything and he'll tell them stuff behind the scenes, fan questions. They're going to do some of that. And also one shot adventures that they had, that they'd thought of different cast members DMing. And this time they're going to do a couple of one-shots, things that were actually stretch goals on the Kickstarter that they have to make good on. But in this case, they actually surprised us with an out of left field. They're introducing a new show called Exandria Unlimited. Exandria is the world that the characters play in, that Matt Mercer wrote. And it's going to be a mini campaign with 8 episodes that are pre-recorded and edited for flow and brevity and whatnot.
Yeah.
Unlike the regular show, which is real play, so it actually it has some lag. So these might actually be a little peppier, a little more easy to watch. It's still unscripted. It's still live play.
So you say watch. That's your primary way of consuming this is on YouTube?
Twitch or YouTube, yeah.
Okay.
And I think that it's really good to watch it because I find there to be a ton of value in the player interaction. Like some of the people are just extremely funny, and their mannerisms really go a long way with it.
Okay.
But here's the thing that is different. Not just that they're going to do a mini campaign that basically takes us through the summer, because it's actually in the slot of the main campaign. 8 weeks. Matt Mercer's not running it.
What?
Yeah. It's being run by Abria Iyengar. I'm sure I'm butchering her last name, but I heard them say her first name a bunch in the video introducing it. Abria is she is a live play Twitch like person. Like she's been on lots of shows and she's really good. She's also a dungeon master who's run several games, and she's run online games, and they're bringing in 2 new players who I actually just don't know them, but they're actually friends with the cast through the Hollywood voice acting community. Amy Carrero and Robbie Damon, who have both done like big name things. Like Amy Carrero was She-Ra. And I can't remember what Robbie did, but either way. So they've got a new DM, 2 new players, and they have 3 veterans of the cast. They have Matt Mercer himself.
Oh, he's gonna play instead of DM. That's
which
cool.
is amazing. As a forever DM, I love to see it. And then it has Ashley Johnson and Liam O'Brien, who are 2 of my favorites. I love Liam. He's such a great dramatic actor, and I'm looking forward to it. At first I was a little put off by the idea of a different DM. But if this was just the campaign 3, they were going to exclude 4 of the people from the cast. I would not be into that. But they have said very straight up, campaign 3 will begin after Exandria Unlimited's run. This gives Matt and all the people time to fully prep and get ready for it and everything.
Yeah. And when do these stop dropping or start dropping?
That is a really good question. It's going to be dropping, I believe, at the end of June. So this will be out, and it'll be on Thursdays, Thursday evenings, and then the actual YouTube video. So that's if you watch it live on Twitch. Twitch or YouTube. They do stream on both. And then they'll actually drop the YouTube video on Mondays, and then they drop the actual podcast version of it the following Thursday. It's 1 week lag for editing purposes.
Which is why the final episode was in my podcatcher this morning.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I highly recommend checking this out, because if you've been a person who's been like, I want to get into a live play show or whatever, but they're just too big, too daunting, I think that this Exandria Unlimited, knowing that it's an 8-episode arc, is a perfect place to get on. Because even if you get a couple behind, it's finite. It's like watching a TV show. When the season ends, it's going to end. So this is a great place to start. And then if you are you've been daunted by 100+ episodes of Critical Role main campaign, just understand there's a new campaign coming in the fall. And that's, if you enjoy Exandria Unlimited, there's more to come. You can jump on board.
Yeah. So I haven't listened to much. I listened to some. It was like a mini, like a short mini campaign or something.
Like
I think
a one shot or something.
I think where they were bringing back characters from the original campaign or something like that. I listened to those, and it was entertaining, but it did not lead to me going and listening to the whole campaign.
Yeah. There's something to be said for being there from the genesis of it.
And
you
going
grow
for the
attached.
journey along with them.
Yeah, for sure. You get attached to certain characters, and at this point, I'm attached to certain actors. I've spent hundreds of hours with these people.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm definitely looking forward to that animated series too.
Oh yeah, that's going to be great. I can't wait for that. I'm glad that Amazon picked it up even further. So it's got wheels. So that is basically all that I've been up to.
Do they play D&D, or do they play Pathfinder, like Harmon Quest?
It's D&D.
Okay.
Yeah, they're sponsored by D&D Beyond. And
why has Harmon Quest got to use the budget?
I don't know. And I mean, not only they're sponsored by D&D Beyond, but Matt Mercer's world is an official D&D world. The Wildmount campaign guide is a Wizards of the Coast book. It exists in the multiverse. So yeah, Critical Role is true D&D, and I don't hate Pathfinder.
Yeah, not the trash Pathfinder. Everyone played Pathfinder for a while.
Because Pathfinder was 4th edition D&D, because 4th edition D&D sucked so hard.
Yeah.
It was like we had 3 and 3.5, and then 4 dropped, and we were like, oh my God, this is so bad. Let's play Pathfinder instead.
Okay.
And so, I mean, if we ever do a D&D episode like people have been asking for, maybe this is the kind of thing that we would talk about when it comes to the nuts and bolts of the game.
That's a sneak preview.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's basically what I've been up to. I'm really excited for this live play stuff. So
cool.
How about you? What have you been up to right now? What are you into right now?
What am I into right now? I'm into the new album from Czarface and MF Doom. It's called Super What?
Okay.
And it came out on May 7th. This is the infamous, what I was listening to when I ran over my phone with the lawnmower, and that's how I knew my phone was gone, because it quit playing.
Great.
It's the second collaboration album between Czarface and MF Doom, and it's Doom's first posthumous album since he passed away.
Okay, so
which you obviously know what posthumous means.
Yeah, they put this out. He had recorded it beforehand, and his family was fine with putting it out.
Yes, this was recorded and was intended for release last summer, and then because of COVID shenanigans, it's just been sitting on the shelf until now.
Okay.
And so Czarface is like a hip hop supergroup. It's Inspector Deck from the Wu-Tang Clan, along with producer 7L and MC Esoteric. And then they've done a couple. This is a couple collaborations with MF Doom, was a huge fan of. But this was not really on my radar until Diver Corey became a Czarface super fan. And so he was always playing it, and I'd see it on his Instagram. I'd seen pictures of his, what's on the turntable posts, and I'm like, Czarface. I wonder if that's on Spotify. Go check it out. It is.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Everything is.
And so I've just been listening to this album kind of over and over again. It's got guest features from DMC and Del the Funky Homo Sapien. And if you're a fan of like the, old school hardcore hip hop, underground hip hop, it's not nerdcore, but it's very geeky, like in the way that Doom is. Czarface is also very like, they have a superhero kind of alter ego called Czarface. That's like a very Bronze Age Marvel Comics kind of character.
Okay.
And it's all their artwork is very Bronze Age Marvel Comics inspired, and it's deep in that world. But it's hardcore hip hop. It's not nerdcore. It's not like MC Lars or MC Chris or anything like that.
Okay.
But yeah, I've just been listening to this kind of on repeat. So recommend.
Since early May. That's a lot of listens.
Yeah, it's one of those, like, I get in the car and I go, what am I going to listen to? I guess that Czarface album again. Yeah. And put that on.
There's a lot of new music coming out that is that's interesting to me. It feels like there was a drought for a minute, and there's some things coming out I'm looking forward to. I don't want to go too much into that right now, but yeah, I think it's a good time for music.
Yeah, I think either there's stuff that's been waiting to get released that was delayed like this, which ended up, unfortunately making it kind of more timely because of his passing. It gets more significance instead of just another, like a collab album that they did.
Yeah.
It's like, this is the first thing to come out since he died.
Is there more? Is that the implication?
I didn't expect that, but when I read things like that, when people say it's the first posthumous release, it's like, well, that means there'll be a second one.
Sure.
Yeah, so probably there's...
Because they would have said the last remaining tracks of MF Doom to make it even more...
Yeah, he probably has more stuff in the can out there that'll trickle out.
Mm-hmm. They'll even put out like his B tier stuff that wasn't amazing.
Oh, like they did with Tupac.
Yeah.
Leave Tupac in the grave. We don't need to hear everything he ever recorded. It's not all album worthy.
Yeah, I mean that's why he didn't put it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But so anyway, yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff that's been just kind of waiting, and then a lot of people have been using that quarantine time to record and stuff, and
for sure.
At least make demos, and yeah, I agree.
It's a good time for music.
Very much so. Hopefully, good time for live music soon.
Oh man, yeah. I have a festival in August that's planned.
I think it's gonna happen,
and it's in Vegas, and they give zero fucks.
That's true. People were going to Vegas way before it was advisable.
Well, and I'm fully vaccinated, and so are my traveling companions, so I feel I'll be fine.
Cool.
Should be good to go.
You want to give them to the call to action?
Yeah, go ahead and subscribe to us on your favorite podcatcher and rate us generously. A 5-star review costs you nothing, but means everything to us. And this episode was a 5.
You can find us on all social media platforms across the entire metaverse as Deep Dive the Meta. We are on Twitter, which is Dave's preferred. We're on Instagram, which I prefer, but we are also on Pinterest, which no one likes.
Well, I guess this is really goodbye.
Don't say goodbye. Say good journey.